I
All
want to
right,
bounce
and
back and forth.
that was Brad playing us in because I don't have any music, but we are live, everyone, and we are
I'm proud of
here
you.
to complain loudly about points.
I'm not going to play loudly. I'm going to be excited about points. You guys
All right, wait. Then I want the first live reaction of Brad realizing Desolators are 13 points cheaper per model.
Yeah, well, remember when I said that they were unbelievably a problem, and everybody was like, "Brad, you're on crack cocaine," and I was like, "Yeah, that's not the point. They are ridiculous."
Now they're by far more ridiculous.
They also ignore all of the penalties for shooting indirect. They ignore cover and they ignore the -1. They are going to do bad things to people. Bad things.
Well, let's go through the list then, or let's go through everything in order. We have our same crew. We've run it back. None of us went to sleep. It's the same 5 people last night. We have been online the entire time. We just hit end stream and then hit start stream again. So none of us have slept. Brad went out and fought a tornado at some point, like Pecos Bill style.
I'm literally at Sniggs' house. I have no power. It took me 45 minutes to get out of my neighborhood, because of the destruction and emergency vehicles working. I also have been talking to Europe since this morning because I just didn't sleep. I'm all up on this. I'm jacked up on Mountain Dew.
We're gonna send Brad at these points like a spider monkey. So let's get into it. So we got Sisters up first. What stands out to you guys about Sisters? I don't think we need to read every single point off the sheet of paper. People can look at them as we go through them. What stands out to you guys about Sisters?
You know what? I'm setting this over here because I can't see my screen, so I'm just going to adjust this.
So Sisters pretty much have remained the same. However, the two notable ones are Morven Val went down like 130 points, and Celestine also went down a substantial amount of points.
They have to.
Yeah.
They had to.
They had to because of the fact that they have limited uses now because Morven Val isn't as good, and Morven Val has to join a unit of Paragons or she gets rat-tat-tatted on her ass.
Yeah. But so they're still very viable. Like, there's lots of 2,000 point lists that are going to get an extra 10 to 20 models because of those 2 character point changes.
I do want to point out real quick, though. Scroll down for this. This is on every single page. This makes me so happy because we've talked about this for so long. Please make Warlord traits cost points instead of CP, and they've finally done it, which is awesome.
Love it. The enhancements costing points is so good, and they're really economically priced for most of the factions. So I think that most of them are auto takes. One of the ones that comes into mind is the Necrons enhancement that just makes everybody within 6 effectively +1 to hit because it counts as if a leader's leading your unit. That's just badass.
Custodes.
All right, down to Custodes. So, I mean, let's start. I feel like something we should do on every page before we go through, though. Just looking at this spitballing. Now, let's not assume that every army is going to add knights, because I know that's kind of what Brad was hinting at last night.
No,
what stands out is what a list is going to look like for Sisters to you guys.
Weirdly enough, Crusaders actually can come in bigger squads now, and they're 10 points apiece. You know what I mean? I actually thought those were legit in Sisters. Why we kind of skipped over that one.
And I think the Castigator is going to see play.
Yep, I was just about to say the Castigator at $150 with every upgrade you can take on it too. You know what I mean? So to get a couple extra shots and everything. I think that's going to be pretty badass too.
And
you're going to see 20 points.
And flat out, anything that can take a 100 killer missile is going to have 100.
Yeah, 100%. They're free.
Yeah. Yep.
So agreed 1,000% on that.
So what do we think a list is going to kind of look like as a framework here? We don't need the exact list, but what do you think is going to be the core of a list here?
2 squads of Retributors, 1 squad of Zephyrin with Celestine attached, 1 or 2 squads of Seraphim, just because the jump with Flamers is great. Yep. Mortifiers, I think, are fantastic for backing out the backfield.
They also have a good cost on that.
Yep.
Paragon Warsuits and Morven Val is very viable for anti-tank.
It still drives me crazy, by the way, that Paragons are capped at 3. Just point that out.
Oh, it's also the fact that Paragons are 80 points does kind of suck, though. I was really hoping those would drop down.
At least they got a 4 pinball.
I mean, yeah, but that's when you put in Marvin Val's cost, that's just an expensive ass unit comparatively right now in the meta, or the perceived meta. With other people getting their shit, there's some for that amount of points, you're getting a ton of other shit in other armies.
Yep.
I think taking 3 squads of 2 Crusaders is a fantastic choice. Just
100%.
100%.
Sacrosanct went down a little bit, I think. I think they went down 40 points for 10 models. So that's a fantastic unit as a bodyguard. And you can stack a whole bunch of other characters on it.
These all look like Sisters point costs, which I think is what we were worried about, that if they didn't still look like they were pointed like Sisters, it would be problematic. So
these all seem very appropriate.
I think they seem fine, but they don't seem OP. And the problem right now is if you don't seem OP, I don't know if you're going to have a great time in the beginning of 10th.
Yeah, you'll probably be fine eventually.
Yes, I think this army is going to be fine in 2 months.
Yeah, they're kind of in that Drukhari category of like once everything else gets blown out of water, they'll jump up.
Agreed, 100%.
Agreed.
All right. Now let's go down to Custodes. Now, keeping in mind that this is only about half of the Custodes book, since the other half hasn't been released yet.
You're like, Forge World, here we come.
All right, what's jumped out to you guys?
Have we heard about when Forge World's going to be released, or do we not know yet?
I don't think
there's
anything
said
confirmed.
PM today, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Okay, so maybe today, maybe next week. So everything's gone up in points, has it not?
Yeah. But their toughness went up, their durability went up. I think they're point costed appropriately. You're not going to have a huge footprint with this army just like before. But, man, they still seem really solid even at this point cost.
I'll give you what I'm going to have to agree on KR on this because the bikes are a little too expensive. Everything else feels fine, and free Vexillas feels amazing.
Yep.
Look at all those Sisters points though. 150 for 10.
Yeah. Well, think about the on this because the Vexilla for a lot of those guys is making those guys OBSEC 3. You know what I mean? That's legit. You know what I mean? Like even small units have a ton of OBSEC because even 3 dudes is OBSEC 9 at that point in time, and you're taking like knights aren't taking it away because they're OBSEC 8. You know what I mean? Regular squads typically aren't taking things away from you.
I think they're ridiculously durable, which is what Custodes should be.
And that auto 4, you know, the old Emperor's Chosen buff on that is just a big deal. And I think the katas are going to be good. Being able to choose them whenever the hell you want in the fight phase is underrated. You know what I mean? You can really customize what you're doing because it's not just once and hope for the best kind of thing. You're choosing them as you go.
I do appreciate how they left the Custodes as like the only army that can still kind of buy like individual models. Just because everything's so expensive, they just didn't, I guess, want to pigeonhole people into spending.
The cost on the characters is boss mode. You know what I mean? You got to figure the shoe captain on Adani is $145. Period. He takes all of his stuff. You know what I mean? Trajan's $145. Valerian's $115. You know what I mean? Like those characters are legit. Again, you got to figure that all the stuff except for enhancements is free. You know what I mean? So those guys can do some work.
So how difficult is it going to be to make a 2,000 point list? Because I know we like strive to get exactly 2,000 points, but to me this looks very difficult to get exactly 2,000 points.
Well, especially it's going to be so difficult.
So it's got a lot of the Age of Sigmar. If you look at Age of Sigmar, this is very much pointed the way Age of Sigmar has gone. And with Age of Sigmar, there is definitely spots where, you know, you're playing 1980, you're playing 1950. It's very much going to get to that stage.
Age of Sigmar also has the built-in feature of like the endless spells that everyone has access to for like 20, 40, 50, 60 points to like fill out a list if you want to. I guess we have the like Inquisition type stuff that we could do that with. But I think it's going to be a little bit weirder because everyone doesn't have like a 20-point model they can take.
Lyle, everybody's taking a breaching team.
Let's do it. I just want everyone to take those little dogs, the little Arbite doggies.
Yeah,
I wish they just had a unit of just dogs. I still want that.
The goodest boy.
So what does a Custodes list look like besides all Sisters of Silence?
I really I think that the cost on the regular Custodian Guard is fine for that.
I feel like you start with like 20 guards.
I just think that they're hard to get out, to move off. I think that Alaris are nice. Of the fact that you can take, 2, 3, 5, 6, you know what I mean, is a big deal on that. So I like it. Nice to see Brad not in zombie fighting mode. I left I escaped Zombieville. It took me 45 minutes, but I did escape.
Oh, Brad, also, just so you know, I turned the delay down to 10 seconds. So I thought you'd
Fucking
appreciate
thank God.
that.
Since it was like, I'm pretty sure last night it was on a half hour. You're like, hey, man, yesterday I asked you a question. Let me get to that.
All right. I don't think we have too much to say about Custodes until we see the other half of the Codex. So it kind of we're in a wait and see mode on this army specifically. So let's keep going.
Has there been a tabulation, like a Excel spreadsheet for all the different point changes?
Not
they
that
will
I've
have
seen
it. It just Reddit will have it within the next hour or two.
I mean, I wrote one out for myself with Dark Angels, but that's about it.
Yeah, Reddit almost for sure will have this soon. They almost always have it. Every time we get points changes, I usually just go to the competitive 40K Reddit page, and someone will have done that.
All right, let's move on to AdMech. I don't know anything about AdMech, so I'm going to let you guys talk about it.
They got smoked in points, dude.
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah. Remember when we were like, hey, AdMech could super shoot up like in tier, power ranking if they get good points? They did not get good points. They got RKO'd out of nowhere. Their points are no bueno.
Well, on the bright side, they do have an early codex, right? Theirs is either winter or fall or winter.
Yeah, that's kind of why I thought there was a possibility that they were going to get jacked on points, because if you're getting a codex soon, I don't think the GW cares as much, because if you're busted, you're only busted for a short amount of time.
Cough, cough, desolators.
Yeah. Just telling you, everybody at ATC, you'll be seeing Brad with 15 to 20 desolators. Just let you know, in case you were wondering.
Not 30 desolators, Brad?
No, because I still have such an attachment to bringing trash that I need more stuff.
At 240 points for 10 desolators, that is trash tier for point levels.
Yeah, you can count them as trash at that point.
I mean, at that point, there is a chance that I might just bring 30, to be honest. That point total is bonkersville.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. All right, so do we have anything positive we want to discuss about AdMech, or are we kind of in the, sorry?
They're not terrible. They just got hit a little too hard on points.
I think the big thing is, like, the Electro Priests are still playable. Breachers just didn't hit a point spot where we were happy with that.
Yeah, and
I think that's the big problem.
And the thing is that
the Iron Striders seem pretty good though, 50 points.
The Iron Striders are where they were, basically.
Yep.
So you can slam Iron Striders. Rust Stalkers are kind of where they were before. I could say 10-man monos of Rust Stalkers of 15 points is actually good. I could see literally taking 30 Rust Stalkers and running a more aggressive AdMech army, and then backing it up with some chickens and stuff.
The big thing that I saw a lot of people complaining about was that Rangers and Vanguard are just capped at 10. You can't.
Yeah. It's just with 10-man units and them not being economically priced, so you could just spam them. You can't get those big unit buffs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Good morning from ACO. Love it. So everybody playing ACO, good luck to you. Hopefully you're watching this later, or maybe you're watching this now and you're ignoring your first game. Yeah, exactly.
You either beat your opponent silly or you dropped first round to listen to us, and we appreciate that.
Either way, we congratulate you or we appreciate you.
All right, so moving on then. Down to Eldar. How many pages?
It's F tier now, right, guys? Okay. Just complete garbage, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
trash tier, my friend.
Is there a chance? Because this is like an hour-long diatribe of what the hell were they thinking?
Here, wait. I want to do this real quick on the screen. Hold on. I'm just going to keep zooming in. Oh, it won't let me zoom in anymore on this one model I want to show off. The 140-point Night Spinner.
But, okay, let's be honest. You're doing 3 Night Spinners, 3 D cannons, you're running 3 units of Speiders, and then you're running 3 Warwalkers, and then you start your army.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Then you have like 1,500 points left over. Like...
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying also, dude, let's look at the fact that the Troop Master's 55 points, dude.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to take that, dude.
I mean, are you...
troops.
Are you almost always taking a Wave Serpent full of 11 Harlequins with a Troop Master?
Yeah, he's just good. I mean, I heard he's good. I'm just saying. I mean, he's not bad. How about that?
Could you currently put Harlequins in a Wave Serpent, or is that new?
That's new.
That's new. And it's good. Like, I'm just telling you. Also, again, they get all of their mojo. There's some really good combinations in here. You're gonna put those down. I mean, I'm gonna begrudgingly take a unit of Guardians just so I can get my extra fate dice. Also, those guys still suck.
So
I'm seeing some comments in chat. People are unhappy with the Fire Dragon points.
Yeah,
those went up.
Fire Dragons went up. I was originally thinking that I'd run some Fire Dragons coming out of Falcon, but there's too many other good things in the army for me to bother with them.
So I was looking at Night Spear along with the Rangers. We were talking about that combo yesterday, Brad. It's only 175 points for 10 Rangers.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a strong combo right there.
You're definitely putting they're untargetable. You know what I mean? The Rangers are only 11 points apiece. I'm bringing that for sure. Iliac Night Spear, add some Rangers, and I'm going to wreck your characters.
Yeah.
Those guys are hitting on 2s because they have the heavy keywords, so they don't move. They can't be targeted, so you can just stand there and give your big finger.
So is there anything they got wrong in this other than maybe the Webway Gate?
Shining Spears are probably too much, and they don't have good rules. And the thing is that the Wraith Knight's economy costed, but he just doesn't have an invuln if you give him a gun.
That's why you give him a sword and you run him up the table.
And
Brad, are Dark Reapers at 75 points playable?
No.
I think they are. How many do you get?
They might be playable, but why would I ever take them? I could just take 3 Death Jesters.
Because you're just going to run out of stuff eventually, since you could take 3 of everything and have 1,500 points left over.
Well, I mean, that's Eldar life, bro. Sometimes you gotta be excited about the fact that you ran out of choices.
They always hit on 3s, right? Like for 5 models for 75 points, that's a steal.
Again, I'm taking 3 Death Jesters. I mean,
why not both? Why not
because
both?
because you are going to run out of other shit. Because, for instance, Wraith are a little too expensive. That would be something I don't think is great costed.
Wraith Blades and Wraith constructs in general too expensive.
Wraith constructs in general are too expensive. The Wraith Lord is probably just fairly costed, but everything else is so undercosted that I'm just not taking anybody that's not OP. And that's going to be like the recurring theme of a lot of these points right now is to be competitive. Not just, you can put a good army out and everything, but if I want to make the most hyper efficient competitive army, I'm looking at whatever's undercosted and I'm maxing those things. I'm taking 3 Jesters. I'm taking 3 Spiders, 3 Walkers, 3, you know what I mean? I'm taking whatever the 3 things, 3 of everything that's underpointed. Anything that's appropriately pointed or is just something I'm probably not going to take.
So what about Striking Scorpions and Karandras?
So should we? I want to comment on that for a minute. Is it people who are looking at playing tournaments early in 10th? We just need to make peace with this. That this is not going to be a nuanced, balanced, all comers, tactical type of meta for the first couple of months. It's probably going to be like, holy shit, this thing did not get pointed appropriately. Let's play it.
Correct. And then you're also going to look for what in my army has anti-whatever / devastating wounds. You need both of those. You're going to need especially anti-vehicle something in your army because there are a lot of things, cough knights, which are super well costed and have really high toughness, and you have to be able to take care of them fairly early. Knights can be a nightmare. We're going to get to that, but like those guys can just be all up on your shit right now.
Yeah, I think Crawley is going to hop back on by the time we get to that, but he was ecstatic about night point costs. He thinks they're insane.
That was the second army I went to. I went to Eldari first and went, oh, this is problematic. Then I went to Knights and went, all right, so we have 2 problems. And then I went to Marines and went, oh, look at that.
The thing is that if you have even a bad turn with Eldari against Knights, I think the Knights can just sweep you.
Yeah.
Eldari, don't get me wrong, Eldari are super strong, have a couple things that are crazily undercosted, but like if you just go YOLO Swaggins with your Knights, especially with Stranger Danger, just showing up somewhere, that game can be over quickly, and it probably will be over quickly one way or the other. They either stop the Knights or they just get smoked because they have enough attacks. with shooting and their combat. That's the biggest thing about knights. I mean, we'll get to them, but like knights have a volume of attacks in combat and shooting. That's just a great combination because they have the answer for most everything.
All right. So as we've
hold on. Yes, I knew I was right all along. I'm the best, the best.
Oh, about the
Brad
-1
is-
damage on
Brad is the
Warlords.
best at everything.
They heard you, Brad. You wanted it to work that way, so they made it work that way.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You just have to believe. You gotta want it so bad.
All right. So to summarize, we're going to try to summarize everything with what will your list look like if you want to play this army: 3 Night Spinners, 3 D weapons, 3 Death Jesters, 3 War Walkers, 30 Warp Spiders, and then fill out the
I
other
don't even know if
1,000
I'll go
points.
30 warp spiders. I'm gonna take 3 units of warp spiders. We'll figure that out. But like,
So it could just be 15.
Yeah,
it'll definitely be 15.
It'll be 15. It's just you're gonna zoom them up because they're gonna get smoked after they do anything.
And I think a solitaire hits every list in my opinion.
Oh, the solitaire is just crazy.
Yeah.
So the solitaire.
I think you almost always are going to have a wave serpent with a troop master and 11 harlequins in it.
Yeah, it's just an economic cost. You know what I mean? And he rerolls everything. It's just so good.
Yep. There's so many builds in this, at least in my opinion, that there's definitely going to be certain things that you will see all the time. But you can, as long as you start with that base that we talked about, you're going to be fine.
And the
I mean,
thing
I
is,
don't,
you
I don't
have
actually think
points.
Wraithguard are that bad.
I
think
don't
Wraithguard are
think
still fine.
No, I think that they're super solid. That's my point, though. They're fairly costed, and I don't want anything that's fairly costed. I only want undercosted bullshit. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, even the Wind Riders, I think Wind Riders are fantastic for their points too.
Well, they're probably going to make it in. I've got a bunch of points left over. I just said all that shit. I've still got an army. I'm not looking at
You still have like 1,000 points left over in your list. Like, that is how cheap these units are, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the real winners and the main list we all need to build. Agents of the Imperium. Brad, tell me how to build a 2,000 point Agents of the Imperium.
Oh my
list,
god,
please.
you can't do this. You run out of points. However, if you're looking to tap things in for points, I think that the Evisor is actually crazily costed.
The which one?
Yep.
The
Evisor.
Evisor.
75 points, yeah.
First character,
I think Crawley was mentioning something about Kodiaz at his points earlier also.
Cody, all of the Inquisitors are really well costed. 65-point Greyfax is also, again, best hat in the game, is super good. All of these have their uses. I mean, the Inquisitors give really good powers to the units they join, and they can join anybody in the Imperium. They're strong.
Yeah.
So why is the Calendar so expensive? That's the one thing that popped out at me. Like, I just can't justify that.
I don't know. We didn't even think. I don't even think it's that good, unless I'm missing something.
All right, let's move on because no one cares about this. Guard, because I refuse to call them Astra Militarum.
Which is correct, which is how you should always be.
They are the Imperial Guard.
IG for life.
So the IG is just point costed okay.
They're not.
That I think the biggest issue I have is they're just point costed okay.
Armored Sentinels went up. That makes me sad.
The thing with IG is they're going to be fine. They're going to have crazy stuff, but the thing is that as they start to nerf indirect and stuff, they're going to get caught in that nerf, and I think the army's going to go slightly down.
Oh crap! You can't take squadrons of Lehman Russes anymore.
Nope.
I didn't realize that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they just, I don't know if they have the firepower that they need. The army's going to be a good army. And the army is going to be fine moving forward. It's just going to be an okay army. I don't think it's like.
Do you think, based on our rankings last night, these guys went down?
I think they went down, definitely.
Probably a step, yeah, for sure.
Do you think this is an army that if everyone else just gets nerfed to oblivion, they're in position to do well, or do you think their points are still too high for that?
I think their points are too high. I think the increase to Armored Sentinels really went a little too far, and I think all of their Baneblade variants are far too expensive for what they are.
Well, the Lehman Russes all went up like a ton.
Yeah. It's just they did not.
Lehman Russes cost the same as a tank commander now.
Well, you have to look at you are getting free everything war gear. So you're getting free sponsons, you're getting free. So you do have to look at that because every one of these tanks is going to have slightly more shots than it had because it has everything that you could possibly take on that.
Yeah, I guess if you're building a tank that has two multi-melters and a
I gotta interject here because he brought something up because he was driving and couldn't leave a comment. Brad, fire prisms went down a whole lot in that army.
But it's so funny that Zoobs walked in and John just joined because he messaged me today and goes, hey, he just goes, come on, man, they're $125. Even for you, that's cheap enough to take. And to be fair, I'm totally going to take fire prisms. That's a crazy cost. There's no chance I'm not taking at least 2 fire prisms.
So we have fire prisms at 125, but we have Lehman Russes at 220.
Yeah,
good job.
Exactly. Yeah, the fire prism's also dropping a elbow off the top ring rope on a fucking Lehman Russ right now.
Yeah, so
I could also
think
fire
Astra
and fade it.
Militarum is in a bad spot. I think they not only did they drop a tier, I think they fell because we had him C last night. I actually think, or maybe low B. They dropped far. These point costs are just not appropriate for what they have for rules.
I agree.
They're not on the docket for an early codex either, so. But with the digital points, maybe we'll see some updates and some fixes as we go. So there's that to look forward to.
Also, everyone, they did say that fucking damage can't drop below 1. I know that everyone knows that, but there was always going to be that dude that's like, it doesn't say that, it's damage 0. I will punch you right in the dick.
Oh, Brad, they nerfed our boys. Servitors went up 5 points a unit. I'm sad.
That's bullshit.
Actually, servitors went up all over the place. They're just
I want a
wildly
30-point
inconsistent
unit.
prices.
All right.
I just assumed that a different person did every single data set of data sheets, so they didn't talk to each other either.
All right. So if someone's just dedicated to playing guard, they're a guard. We have a few of these in DOG. They're just a guard aficionado. They have to make it work.
You just you load up on indirect and you bomb people into another dimension of suck. They're not pointed efficiently. They still have the tools to beat the shit out of you. You know what I mean? It's just the other armies are just way more efficient in their points.
You're still getting Basilisks for 110, Wyverns for 90. Like those are fantastic points.
That's what I'm saying. The things that are super point of, for whatever reason, GW was like, hey man, remember when we said that indirect was a problem, we'll take care of it? They're like, just joking, bro. Take indirect all day long.
90-point Wyverns and 105-point Manicores do seem kind of silly.
I think there's a lot of stuff that is still playable. I just think if we're looking at the Brad theory of I'm taking what's broken and point costed way too low, they didn't get anything that was broken and point costed way too low. Wyverns and Basilisks are a good point cost, but there's not enough other stuff in that army to justify only running those.
Yeah, but that's what I'm starting with. Just like Michael said, I'm just going to bring 3 Manicores, 3 Basilisks, 3 Wyverns.
I mean, that's 9 artillery pieces for like 615 points.
And then throw a bajillion.
Not a little more than that.
It'd be under 900 points.
Yeah. Did you see the cost?
Or I think it would be 950. It would be 915 for 9.
915.
I do need to interject this. Stiggs looks up and our buddy Don's like, man, I've never had to run my Castellan. And I like the Stiggs, like, I go, have you seen their cost? He goes, no. I'm like, you should look at them. Yeah. As someone who I think, do you own every night? Yeah. As someone that has knights, check all. Yeah. He's going to be happy because they are,
Well, I had already told Heidi, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. I had already told Heidi that Knights might be our next army because they might be the cheapest. We already have like 5 big ones and a couple little ones. That might be where I need to focus my attention.
Yeah. And also the fact that towering just goes, hey, man, I noticed you're hiding behind that building. Would be a shame if I dropped a volcano lance on you.
Yeah. All right. Black Templars.
Strong.
Point costed really well. I don't think there's, with the exception of maybe the repulsor or anything that's kind of over point costed.
I mean,
they seem really solid.
You're paying for the multi-meltas on all these tanks.
Yeah, I realize that, but just
Which is a bummer.
okay. They're okay. There's not that. Again, I'm not saying I wouldn't run them. I'm just saying that they're just not as appropriately point costed as a lot of their other stuff. I think the Primaris Crusader squads are maybe a hair expensive, but not bad. The Sword Brethren are going to be ridiculous, even at their point cost.
20 bros for 290 is not bad because you also get everything that they can take also. So that's a thing. That's the funny thing is you have to look for the wargear you've never taken before because now you auto get it. You're like, what does that even do?
I didn't even realize you
Do
could
these
take
points
11
costs
sword
do
brother.
anything to change you guys? We had them ranked near the top of A last night. Do you feel like this is still kind of in line with that?
Yep.
Nothing changes. All the combos still work.
Agreed.
All right.
All right.
They're strong.
So,
Again,
so
go
Tom will get mad if we don't do a list idea for Black Templars. It's going to be a Land Raider with a bunch of dudes inside of it. That's how you start a Black Templars list. All right. So if you want to play
Bros
Black
on the
Templars,
go.
get a Land Raider and a bunch of guys. There you go.
Zoom, zoom. Blood Angels.
So many sword brethren.
Oh, this made me so sad. Brad, let me educate you a little bit here. All right. Would you like to be
Dropping the
educated this
knowledge.
morning?
You dropping the knowledge on me?
All right. So Sanguinary Guard went up 13 points per model, which is the same amount of points that Desolators went down.
Yeah, which is why you take your Sanguinary Guard and you put them as your entry into the Golden Demon painting contest for squad markings, and you play your Desolators, which you painted up the day before the tournament.
Yeah, I'm really sad about this. The Death Company Jump Pack Marines got 10 points cheaper if you have Thunder Hammers on all your guys. But if you didn't have Thunder Hammers on all your guys and you were already doing like the Belt of Pistols and Power Fists and whatever, these got 40 points more expensive as a unit. So the only thing that got cheaper was Thunder Hammers. Sanguinary Guard got more expensive. Library and Dreadnought got more expensive. None of the characters popped out at our first pass. So I'm just like really kind of bummed about this.
The only thing that's looking good is the Ball Predator. That's it. Everything else is...
Yeah, and even the Ball Predator is 15 points more expensive than it currently is.
Mephiston's cheaper, is he not?
He may have gotten cheaper, but his abilities are real weird. His abilities make his unit way more survivable, but he can only attach to Primaris, Tactical, and Stern Guard.
But I mean, if you're going to talk about the real winner here, Tycho the Lost is awesome.
No.
Yeah, I don't even know where you would go with Blade. No, that's not true. You can play Blood Angels. You could maybe still play one big unit of Sanguinary Guard with Dante in it to make them survivable. But the other 1,500 points of your list are going to look like a regular Space Marine list, which is kind of a bummer.
I mean, Sanguinary Guard did get rocked. Just rocked.
I'm glad I own 24 of them.
I own 50.
This is the one army where I'm going, well, why wouldn't you just play the regular Marines?
Yeah.
And they're Blood Angels, they're red, but guess what? They're Gladius.
Going from Black Templars to Blood Angels, it is sadness. You just go, hey man, are these guys from the same origin? Because I think one person got wrecked. You took a wrong way on Points Avenue.
Yeah, the only thing I'd consider is Ball Predator, but you could just put that in a Gladius attachment. Like, you're not taking any of these other units.
I mean, the Ball Predator, what is it? It moves 18 and turns all of its weapons to assault, which is great.
And it has the twin-linked assault cannon.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why you would play Blood Angels right now over regular Marines. Like, I don't think the Ball Predator is enough for it.
No, I agree. I 100% agree with you, Lyle.
It's just kind of I mean, literally, I have all these Blood Angels out on my table ready to get sorted. And I don't really know what to do with them right now. So
I'll help you out real quick, Lyle. Sort those guys right back into the cabinet.
Well, here's what's going to end up happening, Brad. We're going to end up playing some Red Templars, maybe some Fire Lizards, some things like that. Yeah. So we have options. They just have to be red options.
That is true. Zoobs has it. Just Sanguinary Guard is Sword Bros. They got downgraded.
Yeah.
All right. Are you now a Sword Brethren? Yep. 100%.
Yeah. I don't really, unfortunately, I just don't have anything super positive to say about Blood Angels, which is a real bummer because I clearly love them a lot.
So we can move on to something that we probably are all going to have a lot of positive things to say with Chaos Demons.
I have nothing positive to say, only lamentations.
Holy bat dick, demons are good as shit.
Yeah. So all I gotta say is Be'lakor at 325 points will be in every demon's list.
Yeah,
like, I can't see a demon player in their right mind not taking Be'lakor.
He's cheaper than Guilliman. He's cheaper than Guilliman, and he turns off the other opponent's entire first turn.
Yeah, Rabute. Hey, how about this? I'm cheaper than you and slightly better. That's great.
He
You can
literally
do,
has on his ability sheet. Your opponent skips their first shooting phase, and he's cheaper than Guilliman by 30 points.
That is true. You know what you're not taking in this army? Troops.
Yeah. There's a couple bloodletter combos that are out there. There's a few little tricks you can do with them, but it's just
it's 16 points a model for a 1-wound dude when I could take a million other. There's so many good, well-costed things here.
I just think you're just taking big boys.
Yeah, this seems like a monster mash heaven right here.
The Lord of Change costs 230, bro.
Yeah,
Redemptor Dreadnoughts are more expensive than Lord of Changes.
Dude, the Lord of Change is like, oh, that's cute. I'm glad you came to the party. Get out of here.
All right,
Steve, the Great Unclean one at 280 just seems like a steal to me. I could be wrong, but just so solid. There's so many solid units in this that are just big boys.
Also, just take Slanesh stuff and just kill people. You
Dude,
literally
Keepers
start
of
with
Secrets.
Well, you put Bellicor literally, within 6 inches of everyone. And again, like we talked last night, you just go, hey, would you like to get within 18 inches to shoot me? I'm just letting you know my army can charge you at that point in time.
Yeah,
Also,
Shalaxi is going to be nuts.
Skull cannons are super cute at 115, right? Like as a backfield holder that just likes to kill things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how many
flamers went down in points?
And why is the skull cannon assaulting me? Well, look at these 800 attacks I have, and
I know, right?
am I dying to this?
It's a shame you thought my backfield was safe because all there was a skull cannon back there.
Yeah.
What is we're getting ahead of ourselves, I know.
Agreed.
As there's no list, but what's the counterplay to demons?
Yes.
Get all up in their grill and beat the shit out of them.
Go get up in the grill of the Slanesh army. Got it.
Put the whooping on them. Give me my boots and mighty ass kicking.
Movement is going to be part of it. I think you're going to have to move really well against them, and you're going to have to out shenanigan them, which is going to be hard to do. I think Eldar can play with them, but boy, there's going to be times where they just get raffle stomped.
Eldar are going to need all the warp spiders just to move block because they're not going to be able to shoot them for shit.
No, I'm not, because I am. You know what I'm going to do? Turn 1, I'm going to shoot Bellicor in his stupid face, and then I'm going to indirect the army the rest of the time.
Bro, I want to see Sean Rice on Grey Knights versus Kyle on freaking Demons. That would be the match to watch.
Well, coming up next weekend, that's one of the planned games that we have.
What happens when the immovable object hits the unstoppable force? Find out.
Freedom hand.
Freedom hand.
All right, so our list suggestions for demons is just get all the big bottles you can, specifically ones that have the Slanesh keyword.
I mean,
it's
stuff is good.
So you start with Bellicor, and then you add some keepers, and then you go from there.
I think Shalaxi is cute. I think she's really well. I wish she had the 5-up Feel No Pain, but her other special rules are good.
Do we think it's Bellicor 3 keepers and Shalaxi, or do we think like Bellicor 2 keepers, Shalaxi, and then points? Yeah.
You need 18 flamers because they're dirt cheap.
That's true.
They're so cheap right now.
I cannot. I have to agree with Brad on this. And this army is too swingy if you don't bring enough trash to be able to score. If you're putting your big stuff in bad places, you could just die.
So what are you thinking for the number of big bottles then? 3?
I think 3 is a good spot. 4.
If you bring too much, if you bring too much, like, not joking, knights will just roll up on you and just go, I'm your Huckleberry. I'll get within 18 inches. Like, bring your weak shit over here.
So what's the trash you're running in this? Is it Plague Bearers?
Plague Bearers are real good.
I think Demonettes were pretty decent on the
Demonettes are 14 apiece. I'll probably take them. Yeah. It's just, Bloodletters are too expensive for my taste, but I
mean, Plague Bearers are 5 points more per unit than Demonettes. Are Demonettes that much better than Plague Bearers?
They have speed.
It's speed, yeah.
Speed.
What about Nurglings?
Nurglings are probably an auto take because they forward to play.
Yeah, you'll bring a couple of token Nurglings, but those are going to be dead very
bottle.
quickly.
Not bad. Yeah. All right, let's keep going then. Chaos Knights. Crawley's back just in time.
Oh God, these are disgusting.
So you know how the drinking game of it's all about the points. Well, these guys won the point battle.
How is a stalker and an executioner $135? That's bonkers town.
And the way that I know we're not going too deep into it. The way that they did the interactions with the how many battle shock tests that you can just take unlimited battle shock tests per turn. Holy crap!
Yeah.
If you fail your rolls, Chaos Knights will just roll you. They get to take 4 big knights and then some little ones, or they can take 3 big knights and a bunch of little ones. Also, the Chaos Knights with the Tyrant getting to have Armor of Contempt is just fantastic. Yeah, they're in a good spot.
They're cheap as shit. You're bringing so many of these.
And this is one of the armies that, in my opinion, moved up a tier, if not possibly up to S tier, because their points are so well done.
I think
That's
Chaos Knights went up
crazy.
to A and Imperial Knights went up to S, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's
That's fair.
bonkers.
Also,
I mean-
Chaos Knights beat the shit out of Imperial Knights because Imperial Knights don't exactly have the best leadership, and +1 to wound is a hell of a drug.
Also, the big, you gotta remember the big knights. We're looking at these costs. These costs include every single upgrading gun you can put on them. So it has stuff. Yes. Normally, if you put everything you could put on, like the Desecrator, he would be 550 points. You know what I mean? You literally are putting every gun on him for free. He's 410. It's
Yep.
just that guy's.
Well, it's like
bonkers.
the Tyrant. His point cost is really
Yeah, the
efficient.
Tyrants being under 500, both the Tyrant and the Dominus class, is just like, ooh.
Yeah. Again, both of those guys used to have options for literally 140 points of stuff, all free.
Oh, also Shieldbreaker missiles not being limited now, just firing them per turn. Not that they ignore bolts anymore.
So I just did some quick math. You could fit 13 knights and 2,000 points. 13 baby knights.
Yeah, you can fit.
Or 14 baby knights.
Wait till we get to Imperial Knights because I have something else to talk about. But yeah, four big knights and 2 small, and then some other stuff.
So Crawley, what I'm picking up, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, as I'm trying to figure out what my next army should be, I feel like you're pro knights.
I am very pro knight.
Right.
So here's the thing, right? It's rock, paper, scissors, right? Except for a lot of people are focused on paper right now, and then scissors is balanced lists. So when you play rock, like you're playing something that's good into what everybody's thinking is good, and then also that just completely stomps the other thing, and nobody's springing your paper, right?
All yes.
But don't worry, because in like 2 months, then everybody's gonna bring all the anti-armor crap.
Yeah,
and then
Just thinking out loud here, right? So we can all acknowledge that anti-tank has gone down, right? And now you could take 1 to 3 extra knights per your list that you were normally taking.
Yeah.
The problem with small knights, since our audience is all intently listening, is that they're tough 10, and a lot of the baseline throwaway anti-tank weapons are strength 10, right?
Strength 9.
Strength 9. So you run into a large problem at tough 12, 13, and 14 because you have to bring a dedicated anti-tank or scourges or something like that to be able to actually function against tough 12, right? The incidental anti-tank usually stuffs out at strength 10. That's why like NIDs are in such a bad spot. They have like 2 platforms that get up to strength 12 on not melee, and I don't think you really want to get in melee with knights. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, so we've just determined that Chaos Knights are good. What's the list look like, guys?
I mean, there's the answer is yes, because there's so many options for it. You could bring all small, 3 big, several small, 2 big, a billion small. You know, I mean, there's so many.
I think the argument in our current meta at the end of 9th was if you wanted to take 1 big knight or 2. And I feel like at these points, there's no reason not to take at least 2 big ones. The question is if you want more than that.
Chaos Knights will probably lean more aggressively into that same thing, 1 to 2 big and a lot more small, because their rules are much more functional around having more smalls. I think the Imperial Knights will lean more towards big knights and then having a couple of token smalls for bondsman ability.
I can get behind that 100%.
All right.
God, going through walls on Chaos Knights is so dumb.
Next army is Chaos Space Marines. Anything jump out to you boys?
Yes, I'm bringing 400 cultists, Abaddon, and I pushed so far back that I needed to. But I'm bringing a zillion cultists. Cultists are 5 points apiece, basically, and the 5.5. But you can bring just a piss ton of cultists, a cursed cultist. You're giving them a 4-up invuln with your boy the Don, and you can put the Dark Commune in. You know what I mean? Which is also super cheap at 55 points. I think you make a horde army. You do kind of like we were talking a little bit yesterday. Horde army, and then add in some bang bang. And I think you're going to be fine.
And I've possessed with the Master of Executioner, and it is in a good spot.
Still good.
Terminators are so good.
Obliterators went down. They're 80 points, man.
I still think they're a little expensive for. I mean, you might take 2, but I don't think you're taking more than that.
As long as you are in a meta that you don't have a super big dick shark that is running freaking Eldar or Marines with all of the super duper good stuff, you are going to have a good time playing CSM. If you run into an Eldar player doing Night Spinner spam, or a dude who's like, I got, how many Desolators do you have?
30 Desolators, yes.
Then you're going to have a bad time, right? But they're a really good army that's going to function really well on the local level and have fun. But they're going to be an X and 1 to X and 2 faction at major level plus.
Should we get Nick Rose in on this? Nick Rose is interested. He's texting Nick Rose is available to talk
right now.
He's available to talk.
I mean, that's whatever you guys want, but as soon as you add someone, all of our cameras are going to be messed up. So.
Oh my god, it'd be so good. I know how bad this is going. Everything gets exploded, and I'm all for
sure,
it.
We can bring the Dead Sea with that amount of salt in here.
Love it.
Wait, have we done GSC yet? Did I miss it? Because he really wants to talk
about
how great.
We're going in alphabetical order, so they're coming up.
It would be really fun to listen to Nick and Brad argue about GSC. That would be hilarious.
Look, I'm not against Nick joining. I am just the technology guy today, and that will destroy everything.
Well, hey, Lyle, he doesn't have to have a picture. He could just talk.
Right. It'll still resize our Skype.
Doesn't matter. It'll still resize it.
Yeah. I don't want to do that to Lyle, but that is up to you.
We'll get Nick on later. How's that?
I feel like we should have a very special fireside chat on Sunday with Brad and Nick talking about Genestealer Gold.
All right.
Yes.
Brad, reach out to Nick and tell him what you want to do.
Finally, I'm telling him that he's coming on.
All right. So, is there anything that jumps out as far as Chaos Space Raid list building to you guys, other than taking whatever it is, 120 cultists?
What Demon Prince is being cheaper?
Are Obliterators worth it at 80 points apiece?
I think you have a unit. I don't think you ever have more than that.
I don't know. At 80 points, they're pretty. They rock pretty hard.
The problem is that like they cap out at strength 9, and you can give the army-wide lethal hits. So do you need them?
Yeah,
they're good, and there are a lot of wounds, and they're a good mulching thing. But like, there's lots of other tech that you can take for similar points. That I'm just like, do you need that?
I'll take.
I just don't. I don't see anything outside of the cultist spam being super viable. I think Chaos Spawn that I thought were going to be pretty good are just over point costed.
I feel like you could kind of go with what Crawley said a minute ago. You could probably take literally anything you want and go win an RTT.
Bro, her on Blackheart, by the way, so much fun. Now that he's not typecasting
the Tyrant
anymore.
of Badab.
Yeah.
And he's only 80 points. That's
yeah,
strong.
like he's just super cool. Like there's so many cool combinations with the points being in the way that they are, but like for instance, if Havocs could have devastating wounds on their Reaper chain cannon, like every other chain cannon in the game, oh boy, we could have so much fun.
So I will say that I see a Khorne Lord of Skull list happening.
Alan's coming with Lord of Skulls again.
I wouldn't surprise me if you see 3 of them in army lists with a lot of cultists.
Yeah, that would be a good way to back up the cultist carpet. That's for sure.
Yeah. Your cultist carpet, what is it? 1,280 points. You get 3 Lord of Skulls.
I'm just saying, you take.
How do you move them though?
So is that 1280 plus that is 1560? So that would leave you 440 points for cultists.
Yeah. I mean, the Lord of Skulls are still no joke. They're a way to deal with big stuff.
Yeah, so you could exactly 2,000 points is 3 Lord of Skulls, Abaddon, and 80 cultists. That's exactly 2,000 points. Yep. If you're one of those people that likes playing 3 Lord of Skulls.
You might see 2, but I don't know about 3. But you can definitely see. I definitely see 2 without a doubt. Of course, at that point, why not just play Chaos Knights? But anyway.
What's next?
All right, Brandon, tell us about your Dark Angels.
I'm pretty excited about Dark Angels. So, like, all the characters have gone down pretty significantly. I'm not sure the line's worth it. He went up a solid 60 points. It's 380. That's insane.
I would be right back, guys.
You know who's good? Dark Ages Command Squad.
Yeah.
Yep. The Deathwing Command Squad. I can see the Deathwing Command Squad. I cannot justify the Ravenwing Command Squad. It's way too expensive for T3 models and no win won't save. Or, sorry, 3 wound models and no win won't save.
Correct. But the Deathwing Command Squad comes with all of that. Regen, -1. They come inbuilt with a 4 Affina Pain versus Mortals. I mean, there's a lot of special shit in there. That unit's legit.
But
that's
the
legit.
Master.
Oh, Talonmaster's money.
In the bank.
You're
I'm not
taking
super.
3.
I'm not super happy about Talon Masters, even at that price point, because they lost half the volume of attacks. And yeah, they have 4 rolls to wound, but like,
They jump, shoot, jump.
I mean,
Pew,
yeah, except
Jump,
they can't go back
shoot,
over walls.
jump.
So cool with that 6-inch move. You're gonna have to poke out, not touching the
They
building.
also have Lone Operator, and they give Lone Operator to each other.
Now that is it.
So you take a unit of 3, and you keep them in a little triangle, and you just bounce all over the place and shooting.
And I could just take a
They're
Lance Peter
amazing.
Vengeance for 45 more points. And
No,
do work.
you're not taking Lance Peter Vengeance. It's not worth it.
Vengeance.
I think Azrael's a steal to 120 points. He went down 50 points, and you're
Yeah.
putting me in a unit of Desolators
Yeah, he doesn't play around.
or Hellblasters. Like, pick your poison. Like, fantastic.
So what in Dark Angels makes it better outside of just why wouldn't I run Gladius Standard Marines?
The Lion.
What makes it better?
Lions.
So the thing that I like in the regular...
And I'm still running Gladius Marines. I'm just gonna bring a Deathwing Command Squad.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement, at least from everything that we've got through so far, is that it's just, with the exception of maybe Black Templar, it's Gladius
And Deathwatch.
when we're talking about Marines.
Deathwatch wants to be in their own attachment.
Deathwatch
Yeah,
is
Deathwatch wants to be in their own attachment too. Yeah.
But with Dark Angels, like, I primarily play Ravenwing and just all bikes. Like, I'm very excited about how cheap bikes are. With that being said, I'm not taking the Dark Angels attachment. There's nothing I could justify in that detachment that would make me not want to choose Gladius. Like, the ability to advance and or fall back and shoot, just invaluable in a bike army.
Strong.
Also,
She's
just remember
strong.
that in a world where Grey Knights are good, having a guy that gives an aura of feel no pain versus psychic attacks is good, especially considering that, well, it's only psychic mortals. I don't know how that works.
How are you gonna pass that up? In a world where
In a world where Grey Knights are appearing out of your ass every turn.
I will say I do like the Shroud of Heroes, though. Throwing that on a Talon Master, making it revive on a 2+, that seems really strong.
yeah, this army's good, man. Period.
I don't know why Flyers are 200 points. They're just not worth it.
Yeah, because they should all
I
cost
think they listen to
700
Matt way
points.
too much in his I hate Flyers.
Exactly. I think the Flyers are undercosted. They should cost 700 points.
So yeah, Flyers and Black Knights are trash tier. Everything else is very
Flyers
reliable.
should cost 700 points, and you should lose a CP.
Wow.
Every turn.
Negative
turn.
one
Per
CP
turn.
to start off with.
Yes.
All right, so did you guys touch base on what this list might look like out of the gate?
Desolation Marines, Azrael, 1 Talon Master, and a Deathwing Command Squad.
Yeah. Yes. That's just a good army. Like, start there. It looks good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably doing the opposite. I'm probably taking all bikes and maybe 1 Terminator Command Squad to hold the center.
I'm pretty sure I'm not tall enough for this chair because this is so uncomfortable. I can't sit right. Also, my feet don't totally touch the ground, so it's kind of bothering
Well,
me.
that's true in
That
most
is-
chairs, Brad.
That's like Brad. That happens in a standard chair.
We are an
Take you to
hour
a
in.
kindergarten classroom. Maybe your feet touch the floor.
Gentlemen, we are an hour in and we're only in the D's. And while I
Well,
like
yeah,
to
but
give-
we're halfway down the PDF, so it's okay. We're halfway down the PDF. We're doing fine. All right. All right, Death Guard. Who wants to talk about our stinky cheese boys?
Why did Plague Marines go up in point cost?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just about to say, a Tallyman's down to 55 though. Typhus
Yay.
is $1.15.
If you can give me a reason to run this over standard Chaos Space Marines, I like to hear it.
I'm on it.
And
Or
higher
Carrion.
toughness.
I'm taking Morty. I'm taking a billion Poxwalkers, the Taliban Typhus, and I'm gonna make this work.
Plagueburst crawlers, I feel like just
BBCs?
expensive for what they do.
They're super expensive. I thought
They're
for
super
what they do.
expensive. They're $1.75, man.
Yeah, like
They
it's
should be
just,
$1.40.
Yeah, if they were $1.40, I'd be on board with using them. But like at $1.75, they seem like they're way overcosted.
Terminators are just slightly too expensive.
How many points do Plague Marines cost right now?
I think they're
They are 2 points more in this than they
Yeah,
currently.
they were. I would say they were 95 before with everything. So
Yeah.
they slightly went up. They already got all their shit for free. So I mean, Death
And
Shroud
they
are
lost a
crazy.
lot of the weapons abilities that they had. Like a lot of the specialized weapons aren't there. So I think this army just is overcosted
I
for
think
what
Death
it
Shroud
is.
went up by like 5 points per model or something like that.
Also, I don't even understand how they got overcosted when they lost their durability. Like,
Right?
what did they make their points go up for?
I
There's,
want to know what the test game was
So
where
this
somebody
is
got
the-
touched by Death
if I
Guard.
remember correctly, this was the third codex, right?
In ninth?
In their roadmap. No,
Oh.
for 10th.
I'd have to
Right.
double
So it
check.
went Space Marines, Tyranids, Death Guard, if I remember correctly.
Let me look.
This year, the beginning of this year looks very similar to last year, except for Tau and Admech are early.
Yeah,
in
so I
season
thought-
year two.
No, they're not on the list at all.
Oh, they're not on the list.
It
Okay.
goes Tyranid, Space Marines, and Autumn. Winter is Admech and Necrons. Spring is Dark Angels, Orks, Custodes, Tau, and CSM. So that means
these-
Death Guard would not be getting anything until summer at the earliest.
Can we
So
just- You know the
Death Guard are
next
just
thing.
bad.
Oh, you know what we could do, guys? Just pretend the Death Guard's not here and move on to Death Watch, which is the next thing.
Let's do that.
Absolutely.
Let's
Hey,
do
Brad,
that.
I do have to ruin your day for a moment, though. Someone pointed out that your list is illegal because Poxwalkers aren't battle line.
Ah, that's bullshit. How are they not battle line?
Nobody
knows.
They're
why.
even more. They're even more dead to me now.
All right, Death Watch. Let's go, boys.
Low key amazing. Like this is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Holy baby
Explain to
Jeebus.
me how freaking veterans are cheaper than Stern Guard.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait for it, Steven. Here, I'll explain. Because Stern Guard are more points, and then these are less. That's how it works.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, good.
Yeah.
It magically makes
numbers-
sense to me
Because the
whole
number's
way.
smaller now.
So just to bring everything full circle, right? So you could take 5 veterans, 3 Terminators, and 2 bikes for 200 points with
Yeah.
whatever war gear you want.
Also, just remember, like Proteus kill teams and stuff like that. That's price per model. You can take Terminators in the kill
Yes,
team and
I
get them
know.
for
That's my
basic
whole
bitch costs.
point. You literally go, hey, I could pay for Terminators,
Yeah.
or I could make them cheap, almost free in the kill team. I'll do that.
So
Yeah.
one of our team members from the 13th Legion DOG sent me a message this morning already and went, so I can just have my kill teams just be amazing with all the good stuff. And I went, yeah. And he goes, and they're super cheap and do a lot. And I'm like, yep. And he was like, I got more painting to do.
Bro, Death Watch is literally. We need to rename Death Watch to Sam's Club.
The fact that you can just throw so much in these kill teams, that's the thing. You're like, hey, this kill team costs this much. You're like, this kill team is going to be jacked with stuff. They are
Also,
bonkers town.
You're getting 100 Marines. Period. Like you're just bringing 100 Marines in your army.
you get to
With
save
all the
so
war
much
gear.
points that you can afford to actually take the flyer to be able to bring your Terminators down wherever you want after the flyer moves. It's just
Why
dumb
is the Corvus cheaper than a Nephilim?
because
Yeah, because screw you. That's
Listen.
why.
Listen, Brandon, you can go to Walmart and get your Nephilim, or you can go to Sam's Club and get your Corvus.
Yeah, I mean these guys are
Apparently, we're shopping
These-
at Aldi for Death Watch.
these guys are priced to sell. That's all I'm saying.
All right,
You know,
so
Death
last
Watch
night we
deserves it,
said
though.
that we thought Death Watch was like near the top of A. Are they just straight up in the S at
They're
these points?
straight up S tier.
Okay.
They might be the best army that's been released.
They're literally giving them away.
Like
It's
this-
bonkers.
because you can still take like a lot of. Can you still take dev teams in Deathwatch?
No,
Yeah.
No.
You could say.
no. Deathwatch can't take death teams. I thought.
Let me pull it
I'm
up.
almost positive you can, but I
Because
don't
if you
care.
can still take those and you have gravity guns, like I do not know why anybody would play regular. The Proteus, or not the Proteus, but their equivalent of the Doctrines are fantastic. Like it's just
They
better.
cannot take Devastators. No assault squads, no assault squads with jump packs, no attack bikes, no Devastator squad, no land speeder storm, scout squad, scout snipers, or tactical
You can
squads.
put grav on the bikes that you take inside the kill teams.
But you can still take Desolation Marines.
You can still take Desolation Marines.
I mean, if you're in power armor right now, you're taking Desolation Marines.
Yes.
Yes,
don't even
exactly.
know.
Deathwatch are in shaft tier. Shut your mouth.
Here's what I'm hoping is that at this point, between this and regular Marines and Grey Knights, I'm really hoping ATC just limits people to one Marine army, because otherwise it's going to be obnoxious.
It's currently
Deathwatch can take Desolators.
You need to go talk to your captain real
Yes.
quick, and you need to go tell your captain that they need to vote on how many Marine lists should be allowed per army.
5 Marine lists.
Currently, you can take 5 Marine lists, 4 of which are Gladiators, and 1 is Deathwatch.
Exactly.
So,
You know
my
what?
recommendation to anyone running team events right now, just specifically go, you can only take 1 Gladius detachment, because then they can take all the specialist attachments they want. At least that prevents 5.
All you lose from the Gladius attachment is a fallback and shoot, or advance and
Dodges,
shoot, or
yeah.
advance and charge.
You only lose
But for Deathwatch, that's fine. But now you can't take 3 Marine armies that are exactly the same, but one of them's Space Wolves, one of them's Blood Angels.
Well, you want that Eldar army though, and Grey Knights.
Okay,
I love
moving
it.
on.
Moving on.
Deathwatch is fantastic.
Play whatever you want, Deathwatch. The list builds itself. No one cares.
Make sure you maximize your 16-point Terminators, because why not?
Duke boys are in a whole heap of trouble now.
I see Zoobs in chat says Bug Eater just announced they're banning 10th edition.
Should have done that from the beginning.
All right. Drukhari, Brad, talk to us about your evil Elfie boys.
Evil Elfie boys are fine. They're not OP. So I stand by what I said before. I think that this army is going to be fine, and it's going to get better as everybody else gets nerfed. So I wish the Court of the Archon could be 8 models like it used to be. But a lot of these things, I mean, Chronos are 50 points. So
But you can only have 2 in a unit.
I know, but like it's still just cheap. You know what I mean?
5-man Scourges are good.
5-man Scourges are amazing. The
Yeah,
Venoms,
5-man
again, you're going to be doing backflips out of it. Incubi costs are good.
Bananas.
You know what I mean? So this army is going to be legit. All of these prices are fairly cheap. You know what I mean? With all the wargear that they can put on you, because you're going to think that like the bikes, the Scourges and stuff like that, they can just take a bunch of guns and a bunch of extra shit. You know what I mean? So you're going to put all of that stuff on everybody.
Oh wait, no,
Re-
mind. I thought Reavers are 1 war gear per 3. I thought they were 10 for a second. I was like, they're 1 war gear per 3, but you can take 10. You can't take 6.
Yeah,
but you can
you can only take the squads now. So I mean, like they do get a decent amount of stuff because you can put a caltrop and you could put a weapon on them for 3. So I like I said, I think this army is going to be good. I think this army is going to be significant better as nerfs come in.
This is more of a future-proof army.
Yeah, I agree on that.
All right. Let's keep going.
And the fact that you can split units into Venoms is good because you can just put a trash unit on an objective and then just have some dudes with guns inside a boat.
So our current list, if someone is hardcore wanting to play Drukhari right now, though, is going to be Venoms, Scourges, and
Venom, Scourges, Incubi, Drazar. You're going to take the collection of 3. You're going to take an Archon. You're going to take Homunculus, and you're going to take Succubus. Because you can take the enhancement that effectively that says that the strat every turn is free, so you get to empower 3 characters for nothing every turn. So that's just good. I mean, this army is going to be decent, 100%.
A
3
quick
Raptors in every list.
Yeah, quick pitch. Zoobs also just pointed out in chat that if you're going to Salt City, you don't have to paint 2 full squads of Desolators if you're a Marine player. that you can play 2 full squads of Desolators unpainted.
No. The attachments have to be painted then, because otherwise you exceed 500, so you can't have an attachment on your second squad. Ha!
Sure, the attachments have to be painted. That is true.
Oh, God forbid.
How does that work, Brian? If only half of the unit is painted, does that count for half of the points?
I mean, without seeing all of this, I really haven't.
Rules lawyering goes burr.
Yeah,
I love it.
If you can't paint 20 Marines,
this is where I get to go. Hey guys, it's the beginning of the edition. Let's just be lenient and have a good time.
If you can't paint 20 Marines in 3 weeks, I'm disappointed in you.
All I'm saying is, if you do that, you just paint 1 Desolator and have 9 unpainted Desolators.
Brad, to be fair, Brandon, Brad hasn't painted 20 Marines in 20 years, let alone 3 weeks. So.
What competitive Marine player does not already have 10 painted Desolators?
I actually do not have 10 painted Desolators.
I have 10 painted. I need to go buy 20 more.
After today, I'm going to build and paint all 10 of those Desolators, and they'll be
Brandon
converted.
walked into that one.
Yeah, I think there's about to be a pretty huge eBay run on Desolators.
That might have been.
I would assume if you're buying Desolator Marines right now, for a 5-man squad, you're probably paying $100.
Go get your Agastus box. 220-point Brutalises are not bad.
No.
All right, let's keep going though. Let's talk about the Nick Rose special. We might, if we're quiet, we might hear Nick Rose screaming from the other side of the country. All right, he might be able to join in on this conversation. Let's talk about GSC.
Don't worry, Nick, I got you.
All right, so Brad, you have a take on this. Let's hear that first.
I'm going to literally take 1 billion idiot hybrids and put 1,000 of them on the board with every upgrade that's ever been known to man on them and throw them down.
The hybrids, you're going to have a maximum of 60, right?
No, I could do that. Are they battle line?
Yeah, the hybrids are battle line, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 20 points apiece.
Right, you're never taking this arm. You're giving the GSC players hope.
You're talking about the neophytes then?
Yeah.
All right, so you're talking about the neophytes.
Are the neophytes battle line?
You want to run a bajillion? You want to run the 120 hybrids? I'm going to assume all with seismic cannons everywhere.
Seismic cannons, Webers, literally every piece of order you can possibly run because it's all free. And then I'm just going to recycle the shit out of that. I'm taking a Saboteur because he's actually really sweet right now because he does a shit ton of mortals. So the Patriarch actually went down to 85. He was 140 before.
So Nick Rose just texted me. He's like, Desolation Marines, ... That's all he said about this discussion of Gene.
I mean, let's pause. Hold on. I'm going to give Nick mad props for this because you auto get smoked because every Desolator gets D3 plus 4 shots.
Yep.
So your 5-man squad gets 5d3 plus 20 for every time it shoots a neophyte squad.
And you're going to split your shots into 3 different squads so that you don't kill them all. You're going to get all the squads down to under 5 dudes, and then you're just going to go to the middle and laugh your ass off.
I'm literally going to shoot his entire army. I have 30 Desolators. I'm going to literally take 3 guys into each unit, and I'm just going to make him cry.
Literally 90% of the
just
army.
Determined that, in all honesty, if you're a T3 army, 1 moon thing, even with recycling, Desolation Marines just pick you up.
Well, no, GSC have a big problem in that a competitive player is not going to let you recycle. I'm going to kill every one of your squads down to like 5 dudes, and then I won't kill your squads until turn 3. Then you regen on turn 4, and then you might be available on turn 5 to do something, right?
Ooh, think about the amount of rapid-fire battle cannon shots you could also get.
Oh, God. the night player is like, wait, I get what? Plus 10? What?
Yeah. So, again, I think this army just... And again, this is one of my armies. It's not unplayable. It just has so many bad matchups that what seems like a really strong ability isn't there.
The bad matchups aren't even bad matchups. They're just unplayable. I actually think with 30 Desolators, I could pick this army up in 1 turn. I'll let them recycle.
Yeah.
You can have so much fun playing this as an RTT, though. If you're a GSC player, you will have a good time. It's not that it's a super bad army. It's just the super top dogs just mulch this thing for dinner. Like Deathwatch are like, hey, Anti-infantry too. I don't drop them.
I love it. Fate just goes, I think Nick proved his point. Yeah, I mean, yes. He's not wrong. Rose isn't wrong.
You are 100% right without a doubt.
Look, man, if somebody doesn't take something with blast, you will wreck them.
Shame that blast is just a free keyword that doesn't block you from shooting anymore.
I'm just saying, if it did take something that didn't have blast, or maybe if they front line, if you put your Desolators on the front line, and I can charge them with Genestealers in turn 1, then I could win.
Listen. Just
So if you're a bad player,
bring
then
your
Genestealer
Genestealers.
could win a game. All right, that's fair. All right, so moving on.
All right.
Just bring
Next
your
up-
Genestealers so that way the Redemptor or the Executioner can use all of its guns. Since it normally can't use all of its guns, now it has use for all of them.
So
All right.
we hit Grey Knights.
We're on Grey Knights. I'm ready to hear people complain.
They're overcosted. They're good, but they're overcosted.
They are
Really?
overcosted, but they're super good.
Yeah.
They're super good. They're just so durable. And
Interceptors costing 30 points more than 30 points a model is harsh.
The part
They're-
that scares me is like everything's down to like AP1 and AP2 now, and it's like, cool, I'm shooting you with a billion attacks at AP1 and you have a 2-up save. Ruh-roh.
I think Grey Knights are fine. I mean, they're paying for that 2+ save they got, all the psychic abilities, but these are still very good points for what they provide.
and they're still a top tier army. I don't think they dropped from where they were. I think they're very solid. They're going to see a ton of play. Their mobility allows them to do an immense amount of shenanigans.
All that
They're gonna
happened
be
is
able
that
to
at these
score.
points that let other people catch up to them as opposed to them keeping pace ahead of
I think
everybody
they
else.
went down to bottom of S because the thing is you can't afford a lot of trash and they're a very elite army, and that means that mistakes are bad. But I think in the competent player level, it's going to be fantastic. But if they would have
If I
been,
put a Brad versus a Brad on a table,
yes,
Grey Knights are still super strong. I think the only issue you may run into is they may have problems versus Knights if they make a mistake.
except for Knights have a problem that a lot of their stuff is like AP1, AP2 are not enough volume.
Yeah.
Like you're like, cool, Avenger Chain Cannon go burr. And then they're like, oh, well, 3-up save.
Hey,
Okay.
you know it doesn't have, it has good AP? Freedom's Hand!
Yeah. Just don't try to fight Mr. What's his face in melee.
Canis Rex, baby.
Yeah, don't try to go up to melee Canis Rex. You just let that
Maybe-
man go around and shoot with exploding.
He might
fire.
actually, you blow that thing up, he's gonna get out of his night and beat your ass after.
I want to see somebody just pimp slap Drago with Hector. Just like,
He takes off the gauntlet and slaps him in the face.
Huzzah!
So what's a Grey Knight list look like, boys?
ooh, there's actually multiple.
Like we said
builds.
before.
There's several.
Ah!
builds.
I think
Like you can
Terminators are very valid, very, very fantastic for what they are.
I think you're gonna
Eloise
take
needs us to tell her what to paint in chat, so we need to
And
tell her what to
I
build.
think Purifier squads are going to see quite a bit of play.
I think you want to have like your token Deep Strike Paladin squad with Drago because I think that's just freaking neat and cute.
Also, because you need to say, Drago, my man.
But I like
Doing
I
that
like
warp
them.
dust, baby.
So what should we paint with Sisters of Battle? Because I think Eloise is excited and ready to paint. Or should she paint Eldar?
She should
Because
be
we have both.
Eldar.
You should be
She
painting
do her
Eldar.
Protoss. No, but she's been planning to do that Protoss Eldar forever. Like she's not bandwagoning at this point.
No, I mean, every single one of our Eldar models is converted with custom bases. So we just need to figure out what we want to paint and prioritize.
I mean, give her Night Spinners because those are very thematic. They're Dragoons from original Brood War, right?
Hey, Brian, our Night Spinner sold out. Can I buy 3 right now?
I'm pretty sure because they are direct only. I'm fairly sure they are sold out on GW.
Hey, you play StarCraft 2?
Brandon, Zuber just said he has one if you need one, so he'll hook you up.
Okay. I'll buy it.
Like,
All right.
Eloise set up for success.
So our Grey Knight list building is like basically you can kind of just play whatever you want. It's all pretty good.
Just take the one Nemesis Grandmaster so that you can go directly in front of your opponent. And if they move within 9, you go away. If they stay out, they can't shoot you. If they get within 12 and they shoot you, you teleport away. So basically, you're like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and you're damned if you think about it.
Yep. That ain't wrong. And for 245 points, that's a nice play.
Yeah.
All right, Crawley, tell me why I should switch to Imperial Knights.
Oh,
Why not?
because they're fun. Like there's nothing. I'm the proponent of big F off models, and now you get to play big F off models.
These are so good.
Yeah.
Am I still connected?
Yeah, you're
Yep,
over
you're
here
still
dancing
connected.
in the bottom corner.
I mean, rerolling ones to hit and ones to wound is fantastic. The mentoring abilities that they give out, you can give out -1 damage. You can give out +1
so
to hit.
good, dude.
You can do the melee build and hit things in the face with the small armigers, and you can give them charge, and you can give assault to your other dudes so they can run up the flanks and still shoot. The big knights are just fantastic. Every single one of the big knights really has a place that you can do. Some are better than others, but you're not screwed if you have a gallant or a paladin or anything. You can shoot out of line of sight shooting to deal with those annoying ass little Eldar things with the Storm Spear rocket pods that are just free because why the fuck not? Like they also are one of the few armies right now that in a one capacity has anti-tank and anti-infantry, also has an anti-tank / anti-infantry melee weapon, right? Also, you get to say freedom's hand.
I swear, if anyone brings a Canis Rex without a flag on it somewhere to one of the GTs, I'll be disappointed.
Also, just think about it. Like souping in Canis Rex with any of these armies for a knight that just has exploding 5s to hit on both for melee and ranged. And also, if it like bring it down or something is a thing still that turns into a little dude who just runs away and team rockets, it's just fantastic.
So earlier when we were talking about Chaos Knights, you said you thought Chaos Knights went up to A, but Imperial Knights went up to S. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Is that just because they're the similar points to the Chaos Knights, but they have better rules?
I think the builds
Well,
are
yes.
different. Right? I think that Chaos Knights plays this awesome game because their armigers are better. They have a bigger depth of armigers that they can take. So you can play a little bit more differently where you can charge through the walls and you can force them into awkward spots, and especially Chaos Knights melee for their armiger or for their war dogs is better. Whereas I think that Imperial Knights, since with the rules of Holy Within Gate, you're not going to be able to shoot long angles as easily or effectively as you want to. They want to take the big knights, and they can just deep strike a big knight. What are you going to do against a knight that can pop down anywhere within 9 inches and literally see anything?
Yeah, that seems good. What he said.
Yep.
The thing is that again, when we're looking at the point costs, you have to look at the fact that also the point cost. Oh yeah, doesn't include the 120 to 130 points of free war gear you're getting.
Yeah,
it's so good with these big knights. You're like, hey, I'm gonna take I don't care. Probably a warden, to be honest with you, a warden or crusader. Anybody that has a big old stick in one hand and a big gun in the other, because you just stick all the rest of the bonus guns on them too. Excuse me, so good.
And I like the
really good.
I really like the Valiant.
Yeah, and like you get a baseline 17% damage reduction. When you kill their warlord, you get 33% damage reduction. Right? On knights that are already resilient. And the absolute creme de la creme, because people keep saying, well, I'll just keep my warlord in the back. And I'm like, good. Don't deploy your warlord till turn 3.
I still love the fact that you're like, Crowley's so big on knights and so confident on it that instead of just taking your opponent's home objective, he's just like, I'm going to murder your warlord.
and I feel obligated to go, but if Ogden was here, what if everything was just dead?
Yeah. Good question from Daniel. Do you guys know where I can find the GT pack and secondary missions deck in PDF?
So currently it's not out, right? But most local stores have a copy of Leviathan there for you to look at, and the mission cards are there. Just so everyone knows that. If you go to your local store, say, hey, do you have a preview copy of Leviathan I can look at? A lot of them do. Whether it's a GW store, your local friendly game store, almost all of them have that currently.
And as a note, what we're talking about right now, instead of saying depending on the points, it will be depending on the secondaries now. Because we don't know.
I don't think it doesn't matter. I don't think knights care about the secondaries. Knights are just going to pick up your armies. Knights are literally going to Ogden it where they just go, Let me read that mission pack. Isn't the game over? Yeah, I just want to see what I was trying to achieve before I tabled you.
I mean, that is how I like to play. So maybe this should be my ATC army.
1,000%.
So if you ally in Imperial Knights, do they benefit from the stratagems?
No, because the beginning of each of the indexes says that you cannot get enhancements or stratagems unless your detachment is X.
So I can't just like add a random Castellan and just deep strike him to my Dark Angels army?
No, but you could
Bummer.
strategic reserve him and have Cowabunga that way.
I mean, it costs 0, so it's pretty easy. Just walk in and goes.
The rapid ingress still exists, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about rapid ingress. That makes it
Just,
so much better.
Just saying, as the night player, if you're not going, I'm going to put this guy in strategic
So wait,
reserve, and then somebody else brings something in from reserve, and you go, I rapid ingress my knight right fucking next to
Wait,
you.
you're saying I could deep strike
shit.
a giant knight on my opponent's turn?
Yeah.
Not only that, you can have your big knight start on the table, strategic reserve another big knight, go first, and have your the other big knight say deuces and go into deep strike, and then okay, what are you doing about that?
Stuff.
And you were in your command phase, so now you control your home objective with sticky, even though you're not on it anymore.
And Imperial Knights have some kind of fun of going, hey, I don't really care about primary because I'm going to table you and I'm just going to gambit for the fun of it.
These guys.
This seems very fun, guys.
Yeah, these
very
guys
fun.
are good.
It's going to be very. I never like when knights are a huge part of the meta because I think it takes some armies out of play. But this army just looks like it's going to be fun to play and really good on the tabletop. You're going to see a lot of them.
We need something in the meta that is not vulnerable to indirect. Otherwise, we just go into indirect wars.
Yeah,
with knights existing, some of the points that you'll be spending on indirect will have to be shifted eventually to armor crack, and then the meta can actually evolve.
You're not wrong, but the 30 Desolators still shoot 27 super crack Johnny 5s.
Congratulations, you do 27 shots, you have full rerolls to hit, and you have full rerolls to wound. I'll give you 24 hits. You're wounding on 5s with full rerolls, so you'll get a grand total of
Pew pew.
like maybe 12 through with full rerolls with O's. They make a bunch of their 3-up saves. If they have the -1 AP, or if they're in cover, or if you just do the 4-up saves versus the normal. Oh no, you're doing the big guns.
Do towering models get cover?
No, but the little ones do. But the one ignores 1 AP. Well, that's fine. We'll just say they rotate because obviously you're shooting them with the O's of the moment anyway. You get maybe like 7 through, and then they make their feel no pains for 2. So you did 10, 12 damage to the big knight, and now your Desolators are done. And now they're visible because you had to stick them out to be able to shoot the super crack Johnny 5s.
So tell me why Deathwatch lost all their modal potential when Knights exist.
Deathwatcher already asked. They don't need other good things.
I did what I did before.
All right, so we've determined that Imperial Knights
town.
definitely took a step up to that S tier without it.
All right.
So let's move on to Votann.
So Brad, tell us about your cousins, the other short ball guys.
I actually
think ones from West Virginia.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Votann actually came out pretty well. Fortresses down to 245, big deal. The my boys, the Thunderkin, I thought came out really well. Their guns, they're 95 for 3, legit. Come off the side. That you're not paying for any. Again, you get all the free shit. I think that Fortresses looks really, really strong. I think the Thunderkin look really, really strong. Champ's still legit, 75 points. You know what I mean? Sagittars can get whatever gun they want for $120. Strong.
I think there's a lot of play here. I think you get more for the nerf that they got hit with for all the points increases early on. It seems to be just kind of rolled back in a nice way. Their point cost is effective. You're going to have a lot more models on the table, which was always the complaint of most of the Votann players. They didn't feel like they were playing with enough toys. This seems like you're going to be playing with enough toys.
I feel like this list just looks like you're still going to want to start with 3 land fortresses at these points, though, because you're still going to have enough points to do basically anything else you want.
But the biggest problem that we have with Votann is mobility. Now, being able to have the Hecaton move first, get out, and get full rerolls to wound against whatever it also pops, and an army with +1 to wound, feels real good.
And let alone you can throw the Sagittars in there, and the Sagittars have decent movement, reasonable storage capacity. It's nice. I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah. Their Terminators are also still good.
Pioneers also went down in points.
I'm afraid to
You
talk
can
about the
only- you
Terminators.
can only
Brad
get
gets real
6.
worked up about them.
The Hearthguard are fine, but I would rather have all the rest of the shit, to be perfectly honest with you.
You need shots.
Yeah, there's just so much more volume coming out of the rest of the army. They have more stuff now. Their points went down. Their points went down. They are slightly above what we talked about them last night. 100%.
I mean, in a world where Eldar exists and you need to deal with it, having a unit with Volkite and grenade launchers does a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's just you can put just so much volume into people. I really like it.
Yep. Agreed.
I think these guys are super legit. I think they went up at least a tier, to be honest with you. I just think that their points
So
really
that would
went
put
down.
them up in B tier from last night.
Yeah, I definitely think they jumped up to B without a doubt.
They were already in B tier. So
They were in
go
B.
B.
They went up to
I
A.
thought they were
Were
the
they B?
bottom, or they were near
No.
the bottom of C tier.
In
No, wait,
C
C was
tier
CSM and whatever.
Either
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
they really went up. That's all.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
went.
So-
They're
So they're
I
top
think
of
they're
B
in a
at
much
least.
better spot than
Yeah.
they were.
So with reroll wounds, +1 to wound, how does this do into knights?
Actually does pretty fantastically. I think that the biggest problem that they suffer into that is that the changes to the top gun. I think the damage reduction was a little much. The what's it called? The Hecaton railgun of doom and destruction and chaos.
Of Doom.
All right, let's move on to Necrons.
I like him. Annihilation Bar just being a $1.15 jumps right off the page at the first top. So I just think it's really good.
And holy crap, are the Locust Destroyers and Locust Heavy Destroyers so good for their point cost?
Price to move.
Yeah, 100%.
3 Locust heavy destroyers for 135 points.
And they're literally, you could put the volume shots on those too. You know, you can take either the big heavy shot, but those volume shots, the ectoplasmic goo cannon or whatever the hell it's called, that thing is really good at that point total. It's just going to be strong.
What was
I
the
think
model
Warriors.
that gives the leadership aura or the attached character aura?
It's an enhancement. You just put it on one of your characters.
Okay.
Yep.
So you just put out like a throwaway dude and then put like 9 Locust Heavy Destroyers near him, and they're all just like hitting on twos basically.
It's everybody within 6. That's just a big aura. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what tier was Necron yesterday? It was B, right?
Yeah.
So what do we think we're giving them now?
I have to look.
I feel like
They
they
jumped
beat.
up, in my opinion.
The thing is that I was kind of assuming points on that, so they're around the same. But this feels like they could definitely. It feels very Votann-esque, to be honest with you. They got so much more stuff that's usable than they had before.
But you can pour one out for the Silent King. You're not going to see him on a table.
Yeah,
So,
470
to answer your
points.
question,
What?
Necrons were on B tier, and only things ahead of them were Space Wolves, Blood Angels, and World Eaters.
They're at the top of B now, like absolute top.
Yeah, I said high B, low A. Someone asked in the chat if they have us muted, so
Necron Warriors, I feel like they needed to be a little bit cheaper, and I think that the whole thing would have worked really well in this staging thing of having vehicles, but then a couple of warlords. 240 points for Warriors is just a little bit expensive with as killy as the edition shows so far.
Yeah, I think they're.
with all the options to revive them, I think that's pretty reasonable.
I don't
There's
think
no
I have a
points a
problem killing 20 of them, sir.
I agree with that completely.
I
Oh,
do really
can we
like
all agree that
Lichguard at
Blood
190
Angels-
for what they do, or what they
Let's
can
go with
do.
the Necron player. Corey, please, is an actual Necron player on this. I do think that the Monolith and the Size are overrated, but I think that you're going to take. I think you're. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be a fairly boring army to make really quick because I'm going to take 3 heavy destroyers. I'm going to take 3 regular destroyers. I'm going to take 3 annihilation barges.
Meaning models or units, Brad?
Units.
Okay.
I mean, well, but it's sometimes both because they're one per. But like, I'm gonna start with that, and I'm gonna make a character, give him the enhancement, and then I'm just debating on whether or not I like Lichguard enough at this cost. So I don't hate it. They're actually
I like
fairly
the
cheap.
Doomsday Arc.
I was about to say, you want the Annihilation barges over the Doomsday Arcs?
I want both.
Well, both.
Now we're getting into super defense. Like Doomsday Arcs are 600. Annihilation barges, that's another 300.
I don't think you're taking 3 of the Doomsday Arcs. I think you're taking 2.
Agreed. They're
Well,
very
3 so
awkward.
3 annihilation barges, 18 destroyers, and 9 heavy destroyers is just under 1,300 points.
Yeah,
That's a good start.
it's legit.
That's a good base for an army, and then fill flavor.
So do they change in their rankings?
They're
think they're
definitely
just-
ahead of Blood Angels. Let me tell you that.
I think they went above Blood Angels without a doubt.
I think Blood Angels. It's hard to say anything. I want to put Blood Angels down a tier, but anything with Gladius can't go down a tier.
I mean,
I think Necrons are in a good spot. I actually think, based upon the nerfs that we could see coming, they're kind of going to rise up as those nerfs come in.
100%. They're not going to get touched at all.
Yeah.
I think this is a legit army.
I think they only get buffs. They'll probably eat
I mean,
small.
Corey and
points.
Chat goes 2 units of warriors, 1 lich guard, vehicles. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I don't even know if I take 2 warriors, to be honest with you, but maybe because somebody's got to take your objectives. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But, like,
still
The
need to hold
problem is
back.
that warriors just died in Night Spinners, Flamers.
Well,
like, all
that's
of
it. That is my issue a little bit on those, but like the lich
least
guard
you're
are very,
figuring
very
it out.
nice. Yeah, the
right,
big the
guys.
big stuff is pointed out.
Yeah, we got about 30 minutes left, I think, before we wanted to stop. We're on pace if we keep going. So let's talk about some
Yeah.
orcs.
Orcs, fun army.
Still
Fun
in the
army.
A tier.
They're still legit. I mean, trucks being 50 points, by the way.
So tough.
That's kind of silly. Yeah.
Boys, 85 points. Like, okay.
So,
It's
I
like
mean,
what GSC wishes they could actually do.
So that's the cool part. Just make your GSC in an orc army, and then you have
Yeah.
a viable army.
There you
right?
I mean, you're gonna bring boys. Beast Snagga boys are basically 10 points. You know what I mean? So they're legit. Yeah, I mean, you've got some characters that are pointed to the move. You know what I mean? Beast Boss and Squirsaur, as soon as he gets lone operative, totally worth $1.65. These guys are good.
Coptas are still good at 230.
So
Why do I never knew this before? Why do Gretchen come in units of 11?
They have the 10 Gretchen plus the sergeant.
plus
who
the
keeps
sorry,
them on.
but there's literally a herder that keeps them in.
okay.
If you don't have somebody with them, they wander off.
Okay.
Lyle,
Also,
that is your
Kill-
position in Death or Glory. You know, you got to
Point
keep
cost
everyone in
I'm
line.
the squig herder or the Gretchen herder.
Yes.
The biggest
I
I
mean-
was concerned about kill rigs, but I'm so glad kill rigs stayed at low at 220 because they do so much work as well as being a transport.
Mhm.
And they're so fluffy.
Also,
Yes.
Megadobs costed to move.
Yep.
The Stampa just hit a point total. I think that's too high, at least in
800
my
points.
opinion.
Didn't it go up by 200 points?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Its rules got considerably better, but it seems like it's just
not 200 points better.
So is a Gorka not worth it? I mean, we were looking at the Morkanaut and the Gorkanaut.
It's so funny, guys, because none of you guys took that low hanging fruit, but Zoobs is there for it. Rut Herder is going to be the name for the person that has to supervise the drunk rat at tournaments.
I have been the runt herder multiple times. Yes.
Same here. Same here.
Yes.
Look, man, it's
All
not
over
like
Europe. All over
it's-
Europe, Brad.
It's not like I got out of the car and tried to wander away. It's no big deal.
You did at one point try to get out of my car and wander away. I remember
yeah.
very clearly one point where I was trying to drive you home and you wouldn't tell me where you lived, so I couldn't. And we stopped at a red light and you tried to get out and walk over to the car next to us to get in and ask for some water.
Can we skip
was-
Space Marines since we've literally talked about Space Marines with every other freaking Mario so far?
Yeah, I don't look. Desolators went down 13 points per model. That's a problem.
Mhm.
Play them. Yeah.
Or is it an opportunity?
It's an opportunity to spend a whole lot of money.
God, Blade Guard being 200 points for 6 is just so good.
Brad, can you imagine how good my Salamanders list would have been if I could have just got a third unit of Desolators for free?
Yes. I mean, let's talk about some of these captains, by the way. I'd like to point out that most characters are less than 3 digits in cost.
The chaplain on bike is 80 points. He
You
went
can
down
tell that their
50
goal
points.
was, their goal here is to make you to the point, since they're recognizing that their taxes on units now, or the units are a tax for you taking the character, however you want to look at it, they went aggressive with the drops on points.
So, so a couple of things I noticed. So regular bikes went down a bunch. Scout bikes went down a bunch. Eradicators, infiltrators, hellblasters, thunderfire cannons, all the units that you never saw went down in points. And then stuff like redemptors and tornadoes went up in points, unfortunately.
Are Eradicators better or worse than they used to be? Because I was playing Salamanders, so I was playing a bunch of them anyway. But they're 25
Cheaper.
points cheaper per unit of 3. I don't actually know if they're better or worse with their rules.
You're going to
Yeah,
be
remember-
able to have more of them. So
Yeah, you gotta remember that the 6-man Eradicators was 270 with all the buffs.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's 80 points down from what it is right now.
Also,
I just
irony,
don't know if their rules are better because they're completely different.
I think they're very viable.
Still viable. You can still take the multi-melta with it.
Yeah,
Terminator
you can take 2
seems-
multi-meltas and 4 of the multi-rectors.
Hold on, we gotta address this again. Corey, super chats will be activated hopefully by the time we stream and we go live. We have put in our YouTube, please let us make money. And they said you have to wait a week to 2 weeks and before they okay it.
So we're hoping by the time we get to the 48-hour live stream next weekend that we'll be able to do that.
I think Terminator's being 40 points per model. But you can just play him in Deathwatch and get him for 16 points a model. So
I love that your wife literally called you out on that. Brandon, scout bikes are cheaper. Like you'll use the 85 you have in the basement.
It's only 27. It's only 27, and I plan on it because they're 15 points cheaper per unit of fruit. So good.
Yeah, I don't really know like what we can really point out specifically about half the marine stuff because like everything seems like it got way undercosted for the most part.
But there's
Like, it all
things
seems
that went up
good.
in points. Like, why are Stern Guard 5 more points than Death Guard veterans or Death Watch veterans? I also don't think Gilliman's worth it. I think he's too expensive.
I think Gilliman's 100% worth it.
I agree. So
What do you
Brad,
think,
you weren't
Brad?
here when we had this argument. What do you think, Brad?
But a double oath a moment is worth anything that's not insane. If he doesn't cost 800, I'm taking him.
He's 355 points.
Cool.
You're paying 300 for Girly Man, and you're paying 55 points for double Chapter Master per turn with We Rolled with Wounds. Deal.
Yeah. He's literally sitting in my backfield neck talking to Desolators going, if somebody comes over here, I will beat the shit out of them.
And also, I would encourage you, go ahead and kill him. Oh, look, he just got back up with 6 wounds.
Exactly. He's literally standing next to my 30 Desolators going, you got this, guys.
So
Also-
what are we looking at for Marines then? I mean, there's multiple builds, but what do you
Cool.
think, Brad?
I think
All
you
right,
almost do whatever
I'll give you
want.
ready. 30 Desolation Marines, Bobby G, a Primaris Librarian, or not a Primaris, that's silly, Phobos Librarian with Shrouding, who's just going to join whoever the hell he can join, a unit of Scout Snipers, probably 2. And then fill out the unit after that. It'll probably be single man speeders because the speeders have great buffs and they're cheap.
Do you think you take a unit of Blade Guard for holding the center? But therefore,
There's-
up invuln rerolling ones
Hey,
to
whoa,
unfail.
whoa. You just say hold the center? Ain't no center. I'm too busy bombing that thing.
Yeah, the center is the
Center's
crater
dead.
that we're gonna go stand in after we blow a hole in the ground.
Bro, you're gonna have to dig down and find somebody. You better get yourself that techno archaeologist because you're gonna need to dig up some bones that are in the middle of that board.
Poor
No.
Grey Knights. They're like, I can teleport behind you. And Marines are like, no, I'm not going to the center. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, excellent. We'll be in our zone scoring points and murdering you.
All right, Marines are great. Do whatever you want. Let's talk about Space Wolves, Brad.
Or counterpoint, we don't.
Or we just talk about you're gonna play them as Marines and just put fur on them.
Well, I mean, you can be here's the thing. Assault squads are 95 points, or Sky Claws are 95 points. Legit. You know what I mean? I'll take those. Also, I'm not gonna lie, 5 Fenrisian Wolves for 30 points. That's going in there.
Yep.
Those are just good squads. Canis is 85 points. That dude's legit. You know what I mean? So
Underworld Cavalry are only 200 for 6.
exactly. So you could make an actual Thunderwolf army, and it's legit. Ragnar's a $105. That dude does not fuck around. So
So
you
why
can
are
make.
why are long fangs 30 more points?
They don't even
Like
have
regular.
the Adeptus Astartes keyword either.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this army has play, man. Yeah, I mean, it has a bunch of cheap shit that you can do. I mean, the Hounds of Mordkai, I was making fun of them, but they came in super cheap. Yeah.
So what you're saying, Brad, is that unequivocally, Blood Angels are the worst Space Marine chapter right now.
Oh, 100%. It's
Yeah,
laughable.
100%.
Space Wolves slap her out, Blood Angels, and go, quit it. You want another one? I'll give you what's good for you.
Just says we're good on our own. We can play with our own ball.
Yeah.
Actually,
mean-
Brad, Wolfguard Terminators are cheaper than Space Marine Terminators.
So here's the problem, though, because whoever was playing competitively at the beginning of the 9th is going to recognize this. We're doing the exact same thing that we did at the beginning of 9th, which is these tools are great, and I'm going to use them with just a little bit more character and play different things. And this is how we got smacked super hard last time.
Yeah, and that's what I've been telling everybody. Enjoy your broken shit for 2 months, and then get ready to play the armies that aren't going to get touched.
Yep. Just be
Exactly.
ready, because it's going to get slapped.
So
Your
what you're saying
Votann-
is I could play Knights of Marines until the Necron Codex comes out, at which point Knights of Marines will probably get nerfed and Necrons will be good to go.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
going to take your Necrons, your Votann, your World Eater. All those guys are just good, and they're probably not going to get touched.
Yep. All right. So moving on to Tau.
Speaking of one of those armies that's not going to get touched, Tau Empire.
There's nothing to touch.
I don't think they're not going to get touched.
What do you think stands out to you, Crawley?
I mean, the literal fact that every single piece of war gear on Crisis suits is free is crazy. And then Crisis suits are like only like 63 a model or something like that. 6 wound
Right.
Crisis suits with a 4-up invuln is a
But-
hell of a drug.
Sure, yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. But my issue with that is that the Crisis suits currently, if you wanted to kit them out to be an anti-tank unit currently, and like let's just say you went balls to the wall and you went like cyclic double plasma, that was gonna, if you like, I was running a 5-man unit of that with 10 drones, like 7 shield drones and 3 marker drones. That unit was coming in at like 435 for 5. So this is cheaper, which is awesome. Until you consider the fact that all of those were anti-tank weapons, which now all wound those tanks on 5s. So like
Right,
your super heavy hitting fire and fade, I can kill anything in the game unit, now only kills infantry and heavy infantry.
Well, so there's separate things that you can do, right? You have still 3 Unity Devastation, which will give you lethal hits, which is pretty still fantastic.
Mhm.
I play differently than you guys suggest because I want to take the Enforcer and make them a more tanky unit, right? I'm going to play a little bit farther back. So I just think that they're good. And also, the freaking Storm Surge is only 400 points. You know who cracks tanks open like a freaking wet
Yeah,
needle?
the Storm
That
Surge
guy.
solves a lot of problems for the army. You probably have to play 2 to have like a decent all-comers list, and they just do the weird little combo where they can look out for each other.
The number 1 rule of new editions is forget everything that you know. We do these comparisons now to see how things are going, but if you try to play 9th edition Tau, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yep.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I agree.
Outside rolling
This
10
reminds
wounds.
me a lot more of the way 8th edition Tau played.
Except you can't do for the greater good, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I just meant with
I
the
am the greater
durability and
good.
objective holding and whatnot. Yeah.
Also, be prepared to buy a lot of tokens for your I'm observing and I'm shooting bullshit.
Also, the thing is why am I not taking Storm Surge, man?
You're taking
I think
two
you're taking
Storm
2
Surges.
Storm
Taking
Surges.
2 Storm Surges.
Yeah, I
You
just
need
feel
something to
that-
hold your backfield, and that dude
Yeah.
doesn't fuck around.
I just think you take 2 Storm Surges that buff each other, and I still think for a change, because I've always wanted to take him, am I taking a Ghost Keel?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think so.
I mean, ghost skills are pretty good. I know Britton was talking about in the Tau chat we're in that like the best way to start Tau might just be to take as many lone operators as you possibly can and just not let your opponent interact with you for like the first 2 turns if you can help it.
You
Yeah,
want to
that's-
fix that problem with being able to see things? 3x1 piranhas.
Yep.
Yeah, piranhas are real good. We also talked about like you're no matter how you want to build Tau, you probably need to start with 9 stealth suits because they're just the best marker light people in the book.
Yeah.
By far, giving rerolls when you marker light.
If you think of it as a new book, like it's just if it's brand new, I think they're in a really good spot. I think the Riptide's overpriced, unfortunately. I think the Skyray has a lot of play. Storm Surges,
Which
I
is
think
funny.
you start with 2.
It's funny that you say the Riptide's overpriced because he came down in points and you think he's overpriced. That's how much points have came down.
I would
He's the
say
same amount
that
of
I
points,
think
Brett.
the Tau book looks like the points look fine. I'm not I need to put the models on the table to believe in their weapons is my issue. I need to see
Riptides,
what they can do in combat before I really understand how well this army works.
Riptides
I
need
agree
to
with
strength.
Lyle. I think that's the one thing that I say is this is one of the ones where I go, I got to see it on the tabletop to see how it performs.
Yeah.
I just can't math this out.
Yeah, I do like their points, but
The thing is, you want to take a unit that can get the commander so that you get the Cayenne on round 2, and that might at this point be your 10 wound freaking broadsides.
And I'm 100% KR. Tide Wall for the win.
Tide wall for the win.
And Zuber just flipped me off because in one game during 8th edition, I chased him down with a Tidewall when he found out they can move. So
Zoobs, for shame. For shame.
my first game in like
Where's the bell? Ba-ding, 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 ba-ding.
Thousand
Shame.
Hey, where is it? There was one
So,
more.
Thousand Suns. I actually think this is one of the armies that is super strong.
They're overcosted.
I don't think so. I think they got a lot of play. I think Aramon,
Airman had disc
the
being a
Exalted Sorcerer on disc.
is priced to move.
Magnus seems really strong.
The issue is that to get enough Cabal points to do the things that you need to do, you have to take characters, and then the tax just starts to. It's like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching every time that you're like, I need to take a unit for Cabal points. I need this ability because you're going to need like 3 or 4 units of Cabal point or of Rubric Marines, right?
Well,
but to be able to maximize,
I think you're only taking 2 squads of Rubrics.
Rubrics are priced to go, man. I like them. You know who I really like? What's that? Zangors are 6.5 points a model, dude.
Zangors are fantastic.
Hey, if only we knew someone who had like 200 Zangors ready to go.
Zangors.
Brad,
issue
hold on,
is-
wait a second. Zangor flashback.
No. The cows are
All right,
too
anyway.
strong. The cows are too strong.
Magnus is way overpriced.
You think so? I thought he was pretty good at 410.
No, he needed
No?
to be at least 350 or 300.
We'll see him on the table and figure out how that goes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Someone go ahead and use Magnus to beat me up and tell me how I'm wrong. I love to see it.
I think
All right,
that's
so
how
a
it's
Thousand
legit.
Suns list is going to start with
lot of
Aramon, some
characters.
Rubrics, and some Zangors, and go from there.
If
bunch
Assassinate
of
exists as a
characters.
secondary, like that is
And I-
going to be the new like
I think
everybody.
two.
takes
I
it.
think 2 Vortex Beasts are probably going to be in most lists.
I don't know if I could take 2, but I'm taking 1 for sure. You just need to extend the range on the Cabal abilities because you want 36 inches on the Twist of Fate.
So
So-
Zangors, Rubrics, a Mutalith Vortex Beast, Aramon, and as many characters as you need to get the Cabal points you want, and then
So-
you can kind of fill in from there.
Okay, we literally have to go to the wall because we have amazing quote and a good story. Peach is like, last man out of Cast Squad Nath was listening to the yakety sax while chasing a Tau Suit commander all over battlefield while the commander was going, no, just bouncing away. And then zooms. This is the best thing I've heard so far. Put Magnus in a sock with some pennies and beat Crawley with it.
I didn't literally mean.
Fuck me, man.
Hey, it was your words, probably. You picked the form of your destroyer,
Oh,
and his
Sir.
name was Peaches.
I welcome you to try.
All
I
right,
just think
Thanks, though.
with these Thousand Sun lists, I do think you need 3 knights though, like 3 baby knights or 1 big knight.
100%. And you need the buff on them. Yeah, 100%.
all right, Horton.
Agreed.
Tell us about how great Tyranids are.
I mean, if everything was battle line, they'd still suck. So like I got this and I was like, our Neurogons battle line because they're so cheap, and I was like, nope, they're not battle line. And I'm like, our Tyranid warriors with ranged weapons, they seem like they're cheaper. No, they still suck. And I was just like, I just mathed out a few lists, and I'm like, all right, so if I take all big bugs, I can't kill a tank. I don't have enough chaff to hold stuff. Desolation Marines kill me the minute I walk out into open land. Yeah, this sucks.
Come on, man. You're gonna take 4,000 Termagants and Termagants and hope for the best.
So, I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to take 3 units of Neurogons, right? Because that's 66 models at 90 points a model who don't do anything but are good chaff to get the hell in the way. And then I'm going to try and just flood and deny you primary. That's my hope. Is I'm going to score primary, try to limit your secondaries, and just get all over the board. Yeah, that can work, but man, it's not sustainable. And when I'm looking at it going, I can't kill a knight from range with any unit. Like if Crawley brings 4 big knights, I'm not killing but
You're
1.
fine. You bring 3 T-Fexes. You hit me with all of the 2d6 guns, okay? With
And I do
all
6
6
damage.
shots, and then you roll max 2d6 damage on each one, and I don't make a single save or a feel no pain, and you're great. You kill me outright. Dead.
What?
Yeah,
why
that math doesn't work out, my friend.
why are Tyranid warriors with hand-to-hand 20 points more than the guys that have venom cannons?
No idea.
So
I
Nick Rose
let
texted
Tyr
me.
make
Nick
almost
Rose
no
believes that
sense.
Tyranids are better than Genestealer Cult. Is he wrong?
Tyranids and Genestealer Cult, I think, are on the same level.
I think Tyranids are better.
I think, well, Tyranids have access to Forge World stuff that we haven't seen yet, so I think that there's a chance. But right now, I think both of them are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I mean, Barbed Gaunts are kind of fun because the 5 models, if they had indirect, would be amazing, but they don't. But at 50 points, they're okay to
That's a
slow
steal.
down some stuff.
That's a steal.
But there's not enough. And if anyone can explain to me the point costs on Mucilid spores and spore mines, please do. Because that little bit of mortal wound output that they have is not worth that point.
Well, I would imagine any explanation goes back to the sins of 9th edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's sins of 9th edition, and then there's getting beaten with Magnus in a sock with pennies, and even
Is that just going to be our new thing going forward?
I deserve this, by the way. Like, holy crap.
But I mean, it's just they're not like, I was like, if I can run Horde, if they're cheap enough, they're not quite cheap enough to fully run Horde.
Someone in chat saying they really like Venom Thropes.
Yeah, the Venom Thropes are okay. They're relatively well point costed, but there's just so much other stuff that's so expensive.
I really do not think that GSC are DF tier. They're actually C tier because they do have play. The problem is that they are just supremely wop 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 with the Pac-Man style from everything that goes into the very top, right?
Their bad matchups are everything that's great.
Right. Yeah. That's their problem.
One of the most
bad matchups are literally every faction in the game.
No, I don't know that, because GSC's bad matchups are the most populous things in 40K right now.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have an 80% chance to play this? Well, you're going to have a bad game.
Right, but you play against not like 90% of the Marine players that you're going to see at a major are not going to have the super optimized list. They're going to be playing what they think is cool. They're going to have Terminators. They're going to have assault Marines with freaking jetpacks and stuff, right? You're only worried about that.
Sharks with freaking laser beams.
They're not going to be spamming 30 Desolation Marines because they listen to Brad the Manchester.
Charlie, as we look at this, right, we are trying to say that we are looking at these all played by top level tournament players.
I understand
and
that.
Where do we have them hit? Right.
I don't want to get quoted on Reddit saying that like you literally can't play GSC because you can. Tyranids, I feel like, are so overcosted that they're an elite army without elite defenses and they just die.
Carnifex is an old one-eye. That's all I have to say.
I mean, the Exocrine at 135 points, I'm going to put him on the table because it's a decent amount of volume of shots. He's going to kill Marines, but that's pretty much all he can do. And the minute he gets out there, if I can't see the Desolation Marines to kill them, they walk out and go, that's dead.
So, well, Born on the Red goes, it's strange that Tyranids are so bad, but they're the main bad for 10th lore. I really think that they get the first Codex, though, do they?
Yeah, I feel like the Codex is going to be very different.
The Codex is going to be extremely better.
Yeah, 100%. That's the hope, is that they get a good Codex.
Yeah. So if you're a Tyranid viewer on our channel, please don't be despondent. You probably just need to wait like 4 to 6 weeks.
Also, like, if you're making points with this, can't I just bring like Upatatal Carnifex again? 3 Exocrine, a shit ton of Carnifexes, old one-eye.
Sure, you can only bring a maximum of 6.
But you're not bringing 3 Screamer Killers, not at 180 points a model.
No. But I'm going to bring
regular Carnifexes. Sure, you're going to be putting down 6 regular Carnifexes.
I think you take the Leapers.
50 points. Old One Eye fills another 140. Then you're going with Exocrines and then flavor to taste. The things that I thought would be relatively well afforded is you're going to run 3 Haruspecs because they're dirt cheap, right? Those are well costed. But like the Toxicrine, which has good rules, is 200 points. It's just too much.
Yeah.
So what about Leapers and Death Lictor and Death Leapers?
I agree on Lictors and Death Leapers. I actually think are good too.
Yeah,
like they're really cheap.
There's a list there. It's going to have play. It's just going to have trouble with a couple of the top tier armies, which is going to be annoying.
I agree. I just think that
resilient.
I agree, but I think that they're better than we're really saying on that, because I'm just thinking that that's a decent amount of Carnifexes. You have 7 Carnifexes if you include Old One Eye. You got 3 Horuspexes. You've got 3 Exocrine. You've got a shit ton of Lictors and Death Leaper. The army's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's just
better.
So if you were to look at the way that the army should play, right? It doesn't play that way because there's too much to kill any horde for them. All the big bugs, until you get into close combat with a vehicle, the vehicle is going to own you from range. And if the other army has enough screening units, you don't have enough volume of attacks, with the exception of maybe the Haruspecs, to get in there and do enough. I just see it having a lot of minute problems. We'll see. I've got to put it on the table and I've got to get it played. But like right now in my head, it just doesn't have enough.
I agree on the wall here. Thomas goes, bugs badly needs some cheap HQ. The lack of tuner prom is surprisingly harsh. I agree on that. If they had, the problem is that nothing is just throwaway cheap, that you can put in here.
Well, it's like Carnifexes are so close to being good, but they're tough 9, right? Why weren't they tough 10? Like tough 9 is such a bad spot because that literally gives every throwaway anti-armor again, which is strength 10, just throwaways. And then on Meltas, you're getting wounded on force. Like it's a super bad spot.
I'm going to go back to the wall on this because the good points are being made here. John goes, if knights are good, Tyranid monsters are toast, and they get slapped around by everybody bringing anti-knight stuff. So yeah, I agree on that. I'll say that like it looks okay, and then you figure out that everybody's teching against or playing with the thing that just face plants your army. So yeah.
Yep. So do they just skew the meta by bringing 400 bodies?
Then you lose to Desolator.
Then 30 Desolator Marines just blow you off the board in turn 2.
Yeah. I feel like they're in the same spot as GSC. Is like maybe they're playable, except all the stuff that's great is really good into this.
Except GSC's shit comes back when you kill it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got 4 minutes left, and we have one
World
army
Eaters.
left. World Eaters.
World Eaters
they
are
went up
fine.
by 30%.
Exalted 8-bound, I was so excited about because they had bigger squads, but they went up like crazily in points.
Yep.
Avocados still $155, fine. The army needs to come down in points, to be honest with you. It's got great rules though. It's not a bad army. It's just why does it cost so much army, to be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
Zerkers are exactly the same as they were before. I think they actually went down 5 points because if you take all their upgrades to the 5-man unit, I think it's $120. But I don't hate this army at all. I think it's good. I think it's a good army that could have had their 8-bound and the Exalted 8-bound be 5 to 10 points cheaper. They're not really they got no pointed upgrades in the first place, so you don't care. You know what I mean?
So we said earlier in our tier list from last night, these guys were at the top of B tier ahead of our 2 Marines. We said that we thought the Necrons were better than Marines. Do we think Necrons are better than World Eaters, or is it close?
I think World Eaters have fallen down.
Yeah,
I think World Eaters are falling down. Because they relied really on both the 8-bound and the Exalted 8-bound for what they do. And with them being pointed so harshly, I think that they definitely went down.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, then we got 3 minutes left. What are you guys' big takeaways from looking at points today? What would you like to end on?
I'll start. It feels to me that they very over prioritize how expensive close combat units are. They just seem very expensive for just a basic close combat unit, like as we're talking about World Eaters or Space Wolves or Blood Angels. I don't get it.
And close combat's
is so
now,
cheap.
man.
Yeah, close combat's worse. Indirect is better, and indirect is dirt cheap. Every single army who's indirect is dirt cheap.
I do not understand where we went from a situation where we recognized how bad indirect was to the point where we had to give it a core rule data slate nerf, and now we've literally just undone all of that and said, have your indirect and needed to.
YOLO swag.
A lot of the stuff that could get hit by the indirect nerf have rules that ignore it.
Yeah. Like
almost every army has something that just ignores their indirect, either ignores cover or ignores both the minus and the cover.
Yep. It's just one of those. My takeaway from this is Zuber said this a couple weeks ago to me, and I fully agree with him on this even more now that I see the points. We are beta testing 10th edition. Enjoy the next 2 months of beta testing.
Yeah. I don't feel like we're going to see like a real 10th edition metagame until after the first 2 codexes come out.
I've always said that though. Until you have codices, it never feels like a real game at that point in time because you need some stuff with real shit.
I think
someone in chat is asking why Desolation Marines went down in points.
There is no answer.
I mean, because
boxes
buy all of them
on walls. That's why.
Why did Desolation Marines go down 13 points per model, but Sanguinary Guard went up 13 points per model? I don't know. All right,
Well,
I
the
don't
thing
know.
is,
For the Sims, somebody winning
you
with Blood Angels.
know, he's got a great point on this though, and this is why sometimes because they don't communicate very well with each other internally, because on the meta review on GW's page they talked about the fact that Desolators were kind of a problem, and then they went, you know what we like to do with problems? Embrace it. Somebody's drinking
hold
too
my
much.
beer. Let's
Buy
make it more of a problem.
The
no,
Wow,
it's
do
hold my beer.
remember that LVO was won by like 30 Sanguinary Guard this year.
yeah, Blood Angels were great when Blood Angels were, and then they got messed up with the changes to secondaries. That Blood Angels army from 9th edition was super fun. Like it wasn't hyper killy. I mean, it could be if the other person messed up, but
I
it
think
played the
everybody at
mission.
LVO would
It was
disagree with
movement.
you.
It was real fun. But
So,
anybody
again,
who jacked the points up on that based on the way that list played didn't understand what the list was doing, because that had nothing to do with the individual units or their killing potential.
So look, the one thing I've always counted on Games Workshop to do is make cool models.
Yeah.
The one thing I've always counted on them to do is to make stupid decisions with rules, and they haven't not stopped.
Hey, and also
Because-
when you look at these indexes, like combi weapons are not combi weapons. So I think the indexes are watered down intentionally so that we could have a broad game that's easier to balance for them. I think when we see the index, when the actual rules come out for the codices, then we'll see like I can take a plasma combi or a multi-melta combi. We'll start seeing more in-depth rules, right? We all
hope so.
expected the indexes to be watered down a bit.
I'm just concerned if this is watered down, what does not watered down look like?
You don't want to know.
Lethality, baby.
So simplified but not simple was their tagline, right? I think combi weapons was just simplified because, hey, look, I have a combi this, a combi that. Because at one point there was 8 bajillion combi weapons, and it got confusing to go, which combi weapon is that? I got to pick up the guy, I got to look at him and go, okay, that's that one. I understand why they were going for what they were going for. I think they simplified some stuff too much. Other stuff they didn't simplify enough. And, a 18-page designer commentary that we'll cover on another video is 100% going to be part of the, we simplified things, but now we need a explanation of our simplification. And hopefully it all works out.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we do have more videos coming up. I think there will be a fireside chat with Nick Rose potentially on Sunday with Brad if we can make that happen. I think the goal is our Monday night discussion will hopefully be about the designer commentary and missions, if we can have those to go over by then. And then I think hopefully by next Thursday, we may be doing our final tier list now that we have points. And then Friday of next week, we'll begin our weekend launch stream where a bunch of us are all going down and crashing at Brandon's house. And we're going to be putting a bunch of games on camera for you guys to watch what we're thinking about trying out.
Boom. Click,
So-
click, boom.
So
baby.
Should be a lot
many
of fun.
games. If you want to see Desolators, Brad wants to run 30 of them. I don't own 30, so I don't know where he's getting them.
Well,
from,
I own
but
10 and you own 20, so we're fine.
I own 10.
Oh, I thought you said 20. Okay.
It's gonna happen, baby. Make it happen, Captain.
We'll make it
I
happen.
own 0, so I just figured you guys will bring them for me.
I'm gonna bring you 0 Desolators.
All right. Well, we need to end the stream because we now have a bunch of lists to go start building to figure out what we're going to play next week. So
Gentlemen,
until
have fun
then,
playing.
This video, guys.
yeah,
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.
Until then, stay
All
milky,
right.
friends.